It's the amazing Rico Brogna podcast with your host, Evan Roberts.
Welcome, everybody, to the first ever, and I promise you, the only ever, Rico Brogna, Juan Soto wait party. We are waiting for the man's decision. We are waiting to find out, will he stay with the Yankees? Will he be a Met? Will he go somewhere else? Now, in the midst of our Juan Soto wait party, we will propose some fictitious but sort of realistic Met-Yankee trades with a very special guest, and I warn Met fans, he's one of the good ones. You know what I mean? A lot of them are not good. A lot of them are very obnoxious. A lot of them are very annoying. But if we were going to have a Juan Soto wait party and we were going to invite a New York Yankee fan to hang out with us, I promise you, Scout's honor, he's a good one. And that, of course, is our WFN overnight host, Chris Big Mac McMonagle. You like that intro? You're one of the good ones, bro.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you. It's a bit of a weird warning. I warn you, you're going to like them. But yeah, I think I'm fair. And I'm excited to be here, Evan, as we are every year. I can't wait to talk about how desperate I am for David Peterson as we wait for Juan Soto. I'm so excited.
Well, if I offered you David Peterson a year ago, you probably would have scoffed at me.
Right.
Now, if I offer you David Peterson, you have to be excited. Like, things have changed in the last year.
And with his proven ability to throw in the bullpen, too. The Yankees could use a lefty reliever, get some innings.
I think last year, one of the trade ideas, because we try to do this every year, like, realistic Met-Yankee trades. I mean, I know that we don't make a lot of trades, the two franchises, but I do think we're in a different world where Met-Yankee trades could happen. I remember last year, one of the contracts I kept offering to bring back to me was DJ LeMahieu. That's gone now. Okay,
no,
I'm not asking for DJ LeMahieu anymore in any of these kinds of trades. I can promise you that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. What a disaster that has been, huh? I mean, unbelievable.
Hey, look, sometimes it doesn't work out. Now, let me ask.
He's going to be here. He's going to be at spring training. I wonder what kind of role he has with the team. But
yeah, I think sometimes when you have a guy making a lot of money, instead of paying off the contract to get rid of them, I say just treat them like they deserve to be treated. So treat DJ LeMahieu like a super utility infielder who, if he hits, he plays, and if he doesn't hit, he doesn't play. Like I've never been a believer, and I do this a lot, and the Mets fortunately don't have a lot of guys on their roster right now like this. I'm not a believer of, oh my God, I have to pay the guy to go away. I'm more of a believer of, you're paying the guy anyway, you may as well use him the right way as opposed to being forced to use them more because they make a lot of money.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And let me, before we get into this, let me correct you correct me if I'm wrong. Did we do this podcast last year? Or did we have a Yankee Met bet podcast last year?
Oh, you know what? You're right. I didn't use.
I think 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago we did this, and then last year we had like because I remember something with Josh Donaldson, like a trade for Josh Donaldson for some reason in my mind.
Right.
But so I think it was 2 years ago. But last year we had our bets. Did we keep track of that? Joe, do you have that file open on your laptop?
Oh, I have the file. You know, by the end of today's Rico, I'll give you the results of it. I don't want to do that right now because nobody gives a crap. So I'll wait till the very end when people are drunk and they're like, what am I doing with myself on a Sunday night on YouTube? Or they downloaded the podcast and they're like, what's happening right now? And we'll go through some of those bets. But we will get into Met-Yankee trades. What, Pete?
I'm just going to warn everybody that I am around and that I will give updates when needed. And this is from Mike Puma a couple minutes ago saying that the best guess from a league source is that Soto's decision is going to come tonight.
Let's go.
Our wait party's going to have some kind of conclusion.
That's funny.
You know, the funny part about that is it puts the pressure that our Juan Soto wait party is just going to have to occur all night. So I hope you have no plans, Big Mac, but we may be here till midnight tonight, just waiting it out, having a good time.
Yeah. I don't know about midnight, but yes, I hope it comes. I still don't think it's going to. I don't know why. I just have this weird feeling we're going to wait for it.
Well,
now I'm starting to think we're going to wait for I think we'll be talking Tuesday, still not knowing.
Well, that would make me very nervous because
I just have this weird feeling.
I have a procedure being done on my body on Wednesday,
your body?
in which I am completely out of commission, and I have this fear that I'm going to be put to sleep, not knowing where Juan Soto is going.
Don't put it
and
that
then
way.
Either the doctor or my wife is going to have to wake me up, and say, you're not dead, good news, And oh, by the way, Juan Soto's going to the Nationals. That's like my
I hear you.
fear.
Well,
So
say going under. Don't say put to sleep. It's negative connotation, my friend. A little positive thinking there.
all right.
No one's putting you down, Ev.
Not yet. You
Not
never
yet.
know where this is going to
No.
go. I do have a confidence that the Soto sweepstakes will end tonight or tomorrow morning. Like, my confidence is that by the time I'm live on the radio at 2:00, Evan and Tiki, I think we're going to know the answer. And I feel even stronger today than I did a few weeks ago, that this is tilting towards the Yankees. And I hate to say that. Like, one thing around here is, I'm going to be honest, I know Met fans want to wave the pom-poms and be all fake tough and giddy. I'd love it. I want Juan Soto. I've made that very clear. I don't care what the price is. I don't care how crazy, quote unquote, it gets. But seeing that the Yankees are bidding on that stratosphere, seeing that they're close, and seeing that Hal Steinbrenner is committed to spending over $700 million for him, my logic just tells me that Soto's not looking to leave. If he's looking to leave, then the Mets have a great shot. But I don't think anything that happened last year with the Yankees would lead me to believe that. So my confidence level is negative. Right. Are you kind of on that same boat? Obviously, your confidence level would be positive because you want to keep Juan Soto. Are you getting the same sense?
Yes, I am positive. I got to be honest. Initially, I was very concerned that it was going to be the Mets. I thought it was going to be the Mets. Ever since Hal spoke and he came out and said, we can sign anyone we want. We're in better financial standings than we were last year. I know what is expected of me. Those comments were, I thought, a little surprising, to be totally honest with you. And then since then, it became, and you've talked about this too, I said the same thing, Red Sox, Mets, Red Sox, Mets, Red Sox, Mets. And it just felt like it was posturing to get the Yankees number up. And the key number, I agree, once the story came out, they're up over 700, because that's what he wants, right? When these contracts, you want to break ceilings. You want to, so it's the longest contract in history, I believe, is Fernando Tatis at 14. So maybe he's looking for 15. Most money ever is 46, Ohtani. I guess I read somewhere that he's actually getting paid 43 is how the union looks at it. But on the luxury tax purposes, it's 46, whatever. So 46 is the biggest number, 47. 700 is the biggest total number. He wants more than 700. So I always felt like if the idea of, if the Mets come in with 50 million more than whatever the Yankees do, I felt like if that number was above 700, it wouldn't matter. If it was below 700, it would. Like if the Yankees said, look, I'm giving you 680, that's it. And the Mets come with 710, he might leave. But once you're over 700 and the Yankees are willing to give him 7, I don't know if there's a difference between 7 and 750 for him. I know that sounds crazy, but I honestly don't think there's that much of a difference.
It's why,
and I tweeted this at that point.
I tweeted this out this morning or last night. I can't remember, but I stand by this, and we'll go into more detail on this. If I'm Steve Cohen, I'm offering him $800 million. And I know that may sound crazy, but it really isn't. Like when you start to think about a 15-year contract and you start to think about the difference between $700 million and $800 million over the course of 15 years, it's not that much money, especially on this stratosphere we're talking about. So I think for the Mets, and I've always said this about this franchise, if you want to make an impact, if you want to steal a free agent away from the Yankees or get the hottest commodity in the international market like Yamamoto was last year, you can't just be the highest bidder. You got to leave no doubt. And so hearing these reports has just furthered my belief that what Steve Cohen should do, and maybe he will, I hope he does, is say, here's $800 million. Because at the end of the day, Big Mac, it's $53.5 million a year. Okay. Right. What do we talk? Is that really that big of a difference than $48 million a year or $49 million a year? People talk about that's so it's crazy now.
Yeah, no.
What's so crazy about that compared to where we were?
No, I totally agree. Once you get to that point, it's not that crazy. And over the 15 years, again, people people don't get it too. People will go, for $800 million, I could sign this guy, that guy. I'm like, no, it's not about 800, 500, 600. It's about the 50 per year. That's all that matters.
Right.
And I'm telling you right now, good luck spending $53 million this year better than just getting Juan Soto.
You're not.
You're not. You're going to get two players. Look at how much the starting pitching's gone for. Look what Severino got. Look what these guys. Look at these contracts. Burns is going to get $35 million a year. So say you get what, Burns and Christian Walker, and you'd rather have that than Juan Soto? No, thank you. Not at 26 years old. Like I don't know if you can do better to spend $50 million than Juan Soto. The rest of it is just the amount of time. It doesn't bother me. And, as you go down, these contracts are going to go up. The luxury tax thresholds are going to go up. This number, it's not going to kill you. Other contracts are coming off the books. It's just.
I also find it really strange that if you're just against paying free agents, like, I don't want to pay that money. I just want to develop guys. I want to be the Rays. I want to be a small market team. Okay, fine. That's your philosophy. If you were willing as a fan to say, hey, I'm good with $675 for Juan Soto, that's good.
But
12 years, $675. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Really? $15,750 is your turnoff moment? It just doesn't compute when I hear this from my fellow Met fans. And obviously I hear it from Yankee fans. Like there's this line in the sand where you say that's too much. And I don't think there is any line in the sand. Like I'll look you straight in the eye and say this. My expectation for Steve Cohen is to outbid you. And if he doesn't outbid you, I'm going to be disappointed. Right. And I know there's going to be a lot of Met fans saying, well, but this is so much better than the Wilpons. We would have never been involved. And that's true. But don't you want to get the player? Like, I want the freaking player. I don't want to just be involved. So as we get closer to this decision, and Andy Martino is saying the same thing, it is probably going to be resolved tonight, maybe during our Juan Soto wait party. My expectation from this owner is to be the highest bidder. Do you have that same with Hal? Like, if the Mets outbid him, aren't you going to be pissed off based on the same philosophy of like, how could you let that happen?
Yeah, I mean, on some level, I have to admit, I don't know if there's real logic to this, to be honest with you, because I agree with what you just said. But in the back of my mind, I just know, like, I don't know, Steve Cohen has more money. And eventually, and I know it's ridiculous, and I got into a really good debate with Marco Belletti one night about this, because he was like, listen, ultimately it's going to come down to a Yankee decision. Whether they are willing to go where Steve Cohen is or not. They can do it. They have the money to do it. They can go there. And I'm like, yeah, but what if he offers $1 billion? Like when, like, I don't know.
What's
like
the cutoff?
Cohen, I'm just saying, do you get into a game like this that eventually you can't win? And then you say that and you go, yeah, well, Steve Cohen's not going to give him $1.1 billion, is he? And you're like, I don't know. But he's going to stop at a number where the Yankees can say yes. And I'm like, I guess that makes sense. But it also is like, so I have to admit, I don't know. I'll hopefully maybe it happen right here. And I'll tell you exactly how I feel, because I don't know if they offer him $750 million and Steve Cohen gives him $800, can I really be pissed at Hal Steinbrenner? Like in my mind, I'll be like, why not 800? But at the same time, I'm like, and then what if they said 850? Like, do I never like it? It's hard to figure out, man. I got to be honest with you. I don't know how I'll feel.
Yeah, I maybe the word isn't pissed. Maybe that's just the wrong choice of word.
I'll be pissed they didn't get him. Well,
I'll be pissed they didn't get him either. But if we are talking about numbers, and I think we're already starting to exceed those numbers any of us expected, because I remember back during the spring, I played a little game with everybody on the show. I said, all right, predict Juan Soto's contract. Did it with Pete Alonso too, but we've all forgotten about that. It was predict Pete Alonso's Juan Soto's contract. And I was the high guy. I was the one who said, I don't think it's crazy. Give him 15 years, $50 million a year, 750. Tiki thought I was nuts. The whole crew was like, you're crazy. Yeah. And then as we got to the offseason, everyone sort of moved towards me like, all right, yeah, he's going to get $700 million. But now even I'm feeling low end that if the Yankees and the Mets are both in that 720 range, then getting to $800 million, which sounds comical, is not that crazy. Because you're bidding high. If you increase that number just a little bit per year, you get to 800. And that's a number that if you're Scott Boras and you're Juan Soto and you have an ego, and they both do, you can walk away from that saying, no one's beating that. We got this on lock for the next decade, that we've got the biggest contract in the history of baseball.
Yeah, no, I get it. It does sound crazy. I mean, I'm not trying to knock Juan Soto because I think he's great and he deserves it. But I mean, I guess no one's really worth $800 million. Let's be totally honest. I mean, there's no one. We're not going to be able. Oh, he's back.
I have breaking news for you guys. I put out a poll. What time will Juan Soto decision be announced? I said between now and midnight and 6 a.m., 6 a.m. and 2 p.m. or after 2 p.m. Monday. 71% over 270 votes already after 4 minutes have said between now and midnight.
All right, so that means we have to stay up. We're doing a Rico till midnight. Is basically
all night, baby. Let's go.
I don't know. I might need a cat nap before the show. But yeah,
you have a show tonight. What time are you
I know.
on WFM?
2 a.m. 2 a.m.
Wow, so you're gonna be freshly reacting
I
to the
hope
Juan
so.
Soto decision.
I hope so. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to react, man. I got to be totally honest. I am so invested in this. You have no idea. I am so invested in keeping him. Like we were talking about. I know this sounds weird because if it ends up being the Met money that did it, I don't know if there's anything that could have changed. But when it's like it just popped in my head when you said, "Would you be mad?" And I don't know. I think I might be more mad at the Yankee organization that a year with the New York Yankees and a trip to the World Series couldn't sell him on the New York Yankees. I know that sounds weird, but like that thought process just popped in my head. Like he went to the World Series. He plays with Aaron Judge. It's the New York Yankees. They offered him $750 million and another 50 was more important to him than that. Because I don't know
wouldn't that make you mad at Juan Soto, not the Yankee organization?
It would make me mad at everybody. It would make me mad at Juan Soto, but it would also say, well, what's going on with the New York Yankees that they can't sell Juan Soto after he was in the building for a year?
Well, that's the.
Sorry.
What was that?
I have no idea. No, yeah, my alarm. I have no idea why I have an 8:40 p.m. alarm right now.
Okay.
Can't even.
I thought that was the Soto news. I thought so.
I know that's it. Yeah. I just got the call. Heyman and Boris are on the other line. They just gave it to me.
I think that. And this is what I am curious about with you because you do not hate the New York Mets.
Don't.
And there are some Yankee fans that do, whether they admit it or not. They don't like us. I think we as Met fans are very comfortable talking about our dislike for the Yankees. Yeah. I've been open and honest that growing up, I hated the Yankees more than anything. Sure. And really 2004 kind of changed that. Once the Red Sox beat them and they came back from 3-0 down, I went from never liking the Yankees, never rooting for the Yankees, but my obsession of I've got two teams I like, the Mets and whoever plays the Yankees, started to fade away. With that said, I never root for the Yankees. I never sit back and say, the Mets are out. I'm happy for you. Certainly didn't agree with our former guy, Craig, like Met fans for Yankees. Yeah. Never did that. But most Met fans openly dislike the Yankees, and a lot of it's jealousy. A lot of it is some of your brethren are quite obnoxious. But you don't dislike the Mets. And what I'm getting at is, if the Mets steal him away, does it change everything? Are you going to look at us differently than you ever have before?
I don't think so. I don't. I'd have to be an idiot to not acknowledge the change in dynamic of the organizations if that happens. I mean, to literally steal a Hall of Fame type player from the Yankees and pay him an absorbent amount of money changes the dynamic between the teams. So that would be true. It would be very difficult for me to watch Juan Soto in a Met uniform. Definitely, but I don't think I would suddenly just hate the Mets. I would have a tough time rooting for Juan Soto, probably, at least initially. But no, I don't think I would despise the Mets and suddenly hope they lose all the time. I honestly don't. I don't care about who owns the city. I've never cared about that argument. The back pages don't exist anymore. I don't care. I never cared. So I'll still probably root for the Mets, and I'm different than you. I openly root for the New York Mets when they're not playing the New York Yankees, or unless the Yankees had a terrible loss, then I want everyone to suffer.
Yes, misery loves company.
Then if I'm miserable, then I will root for misery. But no, besides that, no, I don't think I would.
I think you're a very honest guy. Yeah. I don't believe you lie, but I believe what you're saying right now will turn out to not be true. That's how I would phrase it. I don't think you're purposely lying. I think you're giving a genuine answer.
I know it. Like, why would I hate the Mets? Like, I know what's going on. We're already here. They're offering him crazy amounts of money. They're trying to steal him away. Why would I hate the Mets because Juan Soto chose them? It's a Juan Soto decision.
Because it is still something, and I think this is the thing I'm trying to wrap my head around. It's probably why I never get fully confident that the Mets are going to get him. I try to use logic, but then there's that emotional part of me that says it's not going to happen because everything we're talking about is a theory. Everything we're talking about is this idea of the Mets doing this, the idea of, can you imagine if Juan Soto, it hasn't happened, and nothing like this has ever been close to happening. So if somehow the New York Mets stole away one of the best players in baseball who the Yankees just acquired, who helped lead you to a World Series, including hitting a pennant-winning home run in one of the pimpiest at-bats you'll ever see in the entire world. Yeah. I can't imagine, especially, and I don't think it's going to be me as much, but maybe a little bit, the Met fan is going to be obnoxious.
Right.
I mean,
no doubt.
there are going to be Rico Brognas just dedicated to us laughing at the idea that we stole Juan Soto away. And that's just a podcast. Like, you can imagine the callers you're going to get. You can imagine some of your coworkers and what they're going to say. And I think that's going to change the very eloquent BS that just came out of your mouth.
I can draw the line between a couple of fans who, want to tweak me and the Mets organization, or like, I don't know. I don't feel that way, but you might be right. I'm not saying you're it's not impossible. And I will tell you, the minute they become an adversary, like we've talked about, there's a chance that with realignment they could get into the division. It will be the easiest of switches ever to then despise them. But I don't.
What's so funny about this is,
or if they beat me on the field, if Juan Soto hits a walk-off home run to win the World Series, and then I hate you.
Yes,
like, that's how I feel. The Mets have never, and this comes off condescending when I say it, the Mets have never caused me an ounce of suffering, not an ounce of pain, not a tear shed, never once.
When Jake Diekman struck out Aaron Judge earlier this year, not even a little bit.
No.
When the Mets swept the Yankees in the regular season, not even like a little bit, like a tiny bit.
No, and they kicked the crap out of them. There was no team embarrassed the Yankees more this year than the Mets. They kicked the absolute tar out of them. But no,
I think I've always had this fear. I think I've even done Rico's about this, about radical realignment and how I wouldn't want the Mets and the Yankees in the same division. It's not really a fear thing. It's more, I'm a traditionalist. I like the National League. I like the American League. I wouldn't want to mix it all together. And I think you may have been on a Rico where we did that too, by the way, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But a 15-year contract is such a long time when you really think about it, that it is a lock that over the course of that contract, the New York Mets and the New York Yankees will eventually share a division. If this was a 5-year contract, I'd say, who knows? Probably not. But a 15-year contract, it is a lock that by the time that contract is over, maybe in the middle of it, maybe early on, we are going to be blood rivals in some newly formed Northeastern division.
And that will be the end of my eloquency. That will be the end of me enjoying the Met run, which I thought I did. It was an amazing, oh boy.
No.
It's scaring me. Every time you pop on.
Every time he pops on our video screen, we're expecting the answer.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. You guys seem like my kids when I walk through the door, like, here we go now. But I just wanted to comment on something. The one thing that I hate about the realignment stuff is we were so close to a Mets-Yankees World Series, and I feel like that has some excitement behind it. If the fact that you'd kill that by putting them in the same division,
well,
doesn't that like?
Would you? I don't even know if you would.
I think you'd realign and have them both in the same division. Yeah,
I know, but my point is, what happens to the American and National League? Is there still, if you're putting Mets and Yankees together, is there still an American and National League? Maybe it's just a straight bracket, and you could still face someone in the finals. I have no idea.
Big Mac and I, we think alike. Okay. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's a basketball fan out there, I have been a proponent for years of scrapping the East and Western Conference. Like, forget it. Doesn't matter. And the playoffs being 1 through 16 and just making it a bracket, with my thought being, who cares about East versus West? Other than Lakers Celtics, there's no real rivalry between East versus West. So wouldn't you want the two best teams playing in the NBA Finals? So for Knicks fans listening, I know most people are Knicks fans. Isn't the idea of a Knicks Celtics NBA Finals pretty appealing? Why do they have to play just in the Eastern Conference Finals? So I've always felt that way in the NBA, and I do think that's an eventuality, especially with travel being so much easier. So to Big Mac's point, he may be right. If we ever get to that part of radical realignment, it doesn't have to be the Eastern Conference versus the Western Conference. It could be, hey, two teams in the same division could play for a championship. With all that said, I still don't want it. Not because of missing out on a Subway World Series, but because I like National League and American League. I wouldn't want to scrap that,
No, there's something about that. I don't know what it is, because when you say Yankees and Mets in the same division, I think that's awesome. The last weekend of the year, battling for the division, a weekend series at Citi Field, I think that's awesome. But then again, just the idea of losing American League and National League, there's something, just it doesn't feel right.
Feels dirty. Now, On this Juan Soto wait party, we will continue to wait and talk and analyze the Juan Soto situation, but we will also be giving you some of our proposed Mets-Yankees trades that make sense. Nothing too crazy, nothing that could never happen, but things that I think would make the Met fans say, let me think about that. And I'm hoping with Big Mac here, something that would make a Yankee fan say, let me think about it. So let me further something I brought up on the air a couple of days ago that I know Tiki was very high on. He thought it made sense for both teams. And that was a straight-up trade that brings Nestor Cortes to the New York Mets. Nestor Cortes, out for Met fans out there, has 1 year left on his deal, one more year of arbitration, and then he's eligible for free agency. He's probably going to make, I'd say, $8.5, $9 million. It's all projected. We don't know what that number is going to be, but it's probably going to be in that range. He had a decent year last year when he pitched. He obviously got hurt. Year before that, he missed a lot more time, but has, I think, proven over the last 3 years to be a very solid, sort of dependable back of the rotation arm. So Nestor Cortes to the Mets for Brett Baty. Yeah. So Yankee fan, Big Mac, we know your holes. I don't think Soto impacts this very much because we're talking about the infield. We're talking about third base, first base.
Right.
Would you accept that trade? Do you like that trade?
It's certainly not ridiculous. I'm checking how much money, because again, if we're trying to free up money, I'm trying to see his contract.
You'd be freeing up a few because remember, Baty is still making nothing. So if it is strictly a 1-for-1 deal, you're clearing the $8.5, $9 million. You're taking back about, I'm going to guess Baty's at about $850,000, a little bit over the minimum. But you are trading what I think is a valuable starting pitching piece. We're trading a prospect that still has value. I mean, we've heard the reports that teams are still asking about him. And I do think the Mets have more risk in this trade because Baty becomes a star. Nestor's got 1 year left on his deal. So
I don't think, I think I probably would. I would consider it. I know he hasn't been successful at the major league level, but he does have a good swing. He really improved defensively as well at third base. It makes it it gives me another option to possibly move Chisholm if I need him in center, if I need him in second. I could have an option there with a young third baseman. Nestor Cortes is making 8.3, an estimated $8 million this year. So I mean that's gonna save me almost $7 million to put elsewhere. And I think they kind of see the end with Nestor Cortes on a 1 year deal. So I would shop Nestor around to see if I could do better. But that's a deal I would consider saying yes to, yeah.
And for Met fans out there, I think we'd be in the same boat of, I'm curious what Baty gets the Mets back. You know, we heard the Post report from a few days ago that, hey, the Mets are getting a lot of calls on Brett Baty. Now, that doesn't mean the calls are being answered with big offers. They could be, very, very small offers thinking, hey, we'll get Baty on the cheap. He really had a lost year in 2024. I am not, and I certainly think you'd feel the same way about Nestor. I'm not looking to get rid of the player. Like, I think there's a use for Brett Baty on the Mets in 2025. The scenario I've laid out in the past is, and it's not Vientos goes to first base and Baty plays third base. That one makes me very shaky and nervous. I would prefer to keep Pete Alonso under the circumstances of getting Soto or not getting Juan Soto. But I like Baty in that super utility role. He learned second base last year. He may play a little outfield, according to David Stearns, and DH is going to be wide open. JD Martinez is probably not going to be back. So, like, in the world where the Mets signed Soto, my dream scenario and what I would do is I'd keep Pete and I would let Baty get maybe first crack at DH. I would, because I think you can be a little bit more conservative with some of your young players, knowing you just added this megastar. And if you're not trading Marte, more on him in a little bit, you could even platoon him at DH with Brett Baty. So I don't think the Mets have to get rid of Brett Baty. But to the Met fans out there who are like, hey, Evan, you're stupid. I hate this trade. Do you think they're getting a lot more back for Baty? Like getting a solid back of the rotation arm who's making very little money feels like not bad value for Brett Baty at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And then from the Yankee standpoint, especially if they sign Juan Soto, and it's going to take maybe $50 million. And I think right now, as presently constituted, they're about 76. I thought I saw 76 million below the estimated final luxury tax rung, the aforementioned Steve Cohen luxury tax threshold. So I don't think they want to go over that. So I think they want to try and work in the parameters of spending another $70 million. There's still some guys they could cut, trade. Grisham, Nestor Cortez could save the money. So if they sign Juan Soto in the next hour, I would even like that deal more to get rid of Nestor and save $8 million for one more year of Nestor, who, quite honest, I agree with you. If he pitches, I think he's pretty good. I think he's a serviceable back end of the rotation, gives you innings. He's a bulldog. But you remember how he ended the season with the injury. Was the last quote from him really was, "Hey, if my arm goes, my arm goes. If I win a World Series and can't pitch for a year, that's fine with me." So like that's literally the state of his arm at the end of the year, plus all the previous injuries the last couple seasons, where I would be more than fine to take on a legitimate prospect who could play third base, gives me an option to do a couple of different things if I'm looking to go on the cheap. If the young second base prospect doesn't pan out after a week, I can move Chisholm there and then bring up Beatty to try third base, because he's going to kill it in AAA. You're going to get word by May that he's hitting 380 with 10 home runs or something, because that's what he does. He's one of those guys. So yeah, I think that works. I think I would do that. I had a trade for Beatty. I like this one better than the one I came up with.
What do you have? Let me see. Maybe
no, it's all right. I like this one. I'm going to go with this.
You're
one.
giving up on your trade?
Yeah, I'm giving up on it. This one's better.
What were you going to offer me? Ian Hamilton? Like what?
No, yeah. You want Ian? No.
Well, it's funny. Like in the past, I have always felt Mets and Yankees have things that make sense. Like there are fits that make sense if they were ever willing to look past the risk of making a trade with each other, though. Right. I kind of feel like this new administration doesn't care. Like, I don't think David Stearns really cares. I mean, look, the Mets have clearly shown an affinity to signing former Yankees.
That's the other benefit of getting Nestor Cortez or any of these deals, really. They love it, especially the pitching. Look at you guys.
Well, what's interesting with so far it's worked. I mean, right now it feels like it's a little bit of a heat check when you bring in Clay Holmes.
Is he going to be a starter?
Yeah.
I'll be totally honest with you. I don't think he's going to be.
Well,
I know they said they're going. I don't think it's going to work. I think by June or July he's the setup guy.
Well, there's a couple of scenarios here with Clay Holmes. There's the scenario that I didn't even bring up on the reaction pod a few days ago when they signed Clay, but I was thinking about this over the last few days. So before I get to this new scenario, the obvious scenarios are it doesn't work like you predict, and okay, move him to the bullpen. Like that's a fair backup. Like when you look at that contract, is he a little overpaid for a seventh inning guy making that kind of money? A little bit, yeah, sure, but it's not obscene. It's not crazy. Right. So if he pitches to a 5.5 ERA, you move him. I think what makes it really interesting, or I guess debatable, I mean, think about the conversations you'll have on this on the radio and I will have on the radio. What if he's pitching to a 4.07 ERA, but the Met bullpen is struggling? Yeah. That's decent back of the rotation stuff, but you can easily make the argument, boy, they could really use him setting up for Edwin Diaz. Boy, they could really use him in the 7th or 8th inning. So would they take him out of a role that he's looking decent in because they have a hole in their bullpen? So that's another scenario where you could be right that he ends up in the bullpen, and it won't be because he failed. It may be because they realize, wow, we have such a need in the bullpen. Right.
Yeah, I think that's plausible. So I just don't – I mean, I know Lugo did it. Lugo has 35 pitches. Like, this is I know we were talking about this the other night. I know you think the slider and the slurve or whatever, the
sweeper,
excuse me, and the sinker. I just don't see him transitioning to I mean, listen, they think he can, and they're smarter than me. I'm not going to try and tell you I'm smarter than the Mets executives, but like, and the other thing, I don't see any. The one thing about Clay, and I'm a Clay guy, I've defended him constantly. I was the last guy to say, all right, it's finally time to pull him from the closer role. I love Clay. Every time he pitched in the postseason this year, the whole game was nothing but Clay. That's all I talked about. Love Clay. He hasn't shown the ability on days where he doesn't have it to have any toughness in him. Like, that's the only, like, as a starting pitcher, like, I mean, I don't know if he's going to be the kind of guy who can find it. You know, like classic starting pitchers, if you don't get him in the first, you're not going to get him. I don't know if Clay's the kind of guy who'll just find it an inning later or halfway through a start. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I think he's going to end up in the bullpen because he's not a good viable option in the rotation.
I think that it's a major who the hell knows. I'd be lying to say I'm confident it's going to work. I do think that if you look at his history, he's got other pitches he's thrown that he kind of put in the bag.
He
And
put in the away.
bag
to be a closer. Okay.
He threw a curveball, he threw a four-seamer, he threw a changeup. Now, I'm not saying he's going to bring that all back, but clearly the Mets are going to bring back one of those pitches. I'm not sure which one.
No,
I'm
they're
not
going to
sure how effective it's going to be. Also, it's a different mentality. Like, when you're a starting pitcher, you know I can give up 2 runs in the first inning. It's not the end of the world. When you are a reliever and that leadoff man gets on a blue pit, and how many times did that happen with Clay, where there'd be weak contact, a weak ground ball finds the hole, and all of a sudden he's behind the next hitter 3-0.
Yeah.
The wheels go off in your head like, oh my God, here we go again. As a starting pitcher, the wheels can be, all right, no big deal. Let me just get out of this inning allowing a run. It's not the end of the world.
Right. Not to take up the entire Soto watch party on Clay Holmes, but then I'll just ask you one simple question.
Yes.
What about him makes you think this? Like, okay, you're giving me a bunch of reasons why it could possibly work. What have you seen with Clay Holmes? Like, Lugo desperately wanted to be, and I know he's not the only example, but he was a Met. Lugo desperately wanted to be a starter, tried to be a starter, always had those amount of pitches. Like, you could see that, Michael King with the Yankees clearly came up a starter, had the stuff. You could see him making that transition. What about Clay Holmes? Are the Mets seeing that they think this is a viable option for him? Because all I'm saying is I don't see it.
I'll give you the answer.
You're right.
I'll give you the answer.
But I haven't seen anything from Clay. Yes.
I think that when you're a ground ball pitcher, that's a really good sign, and he is. I think for the most part, he throws strikes. I know he'll have his moments where he loses the strike zone, but you just look at his overall numbers, he pretty much throws strikes. And I think they see 3 effective pitches, and they could add a 4th. And I think when you put that all together, they see a guy who can be like Jordan Hicks and Reynaldo Lopez, because those are the other 2 names I bring up. Because Seth Lugo we were just so close to the situation with Seth Lugo. Yeah. And we saw him start. We saw him go to the bullpen. In the case of Hicks, we never saw him start. Like all of a sudden, we hear the Giants are turning Jordan Hicks, a former closer, into a starter. And it's like, what the hell? Now, the Jordan Hicks thing hasn't been like he won the Cy Young, but he was okay. He was effective. I think it's one of those scenarios where if it doesn't work, what a great backup plan, making him the 7th or 8th inning guy. But let me throw out this other scenario that I thought about over the weekend that I don't think any of us have really given too much credence in because maybe it feels unlikely. The Mets have not ended their rotation search. I mean, clearly, they're probably going to get 2 more arms. And we've heard a lot of names they're attached to. They're interested in Walker Buehler. They're interested in Nate Eovaldi. Maybe they'll talk to Chicago about Garrett Crochet. Maybe our Nestor Cortez trade happens. And maybe the market for Corbin Burnes and Max Fried change from where they look like it is now. Because right now it doesn't look like the Mets are that hot for a long-term contract to Corbin Burnes or Max Fried. It doesn't feel like this will happen, but I'm throwing it out there because you never know. If all of a sudden the market for Burnes just turns a little bit, just a little bit, Yankees get Soto. And you guys are like, you know what? I'm sorry. We cannot be bidding on Corbin Burnes. The Orioles trade for Garrett Crochet. And all of a sudden, Burnes is thinking, you know what? I may end up taking a short-term deal. I may end up taking one of those big money short-term deals. And the Met rotation plans end up being a little bit different than the way they feel right now. Maybe Roki Sasaki says yes. Yeah. Maybe stunningly we find out Sasaki has a thing for New York. Could the Mets, based on the way the offseason plays out, say, you know what? We actually changed our mind. Clay, we love you. There could be an avenue over the course of these 3 years where we move you to the rotation. But the way this offseason played out actually surprised us. And so we are going to deploy you out of the bullpen. Is that not a possibility?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all a possibility. I agree with you. I mean, it doesn't sound like the Mets are interested in signing starting pitchers. They're interested in taking cast-offs and packaging them as starting pitchers. But
well, hold on.
We'll see.
See, the Yankee douche finally came out. It took you a while.
Well,
they're interested in Walker Buehler and Nate Eovaldi. I mean, those are real starting pitchers. They're not. I'll rephrase this for you, and then you can
top
respond.
of the market. They don't believe in spending big money on starting pitching.
Not big money. They don't believe in spending a lot of years on starting pitching. And I disagree with them, by the way. It's not like I'm going to defend them, but you can't say they don't want starting pitching. They do want starting pitching.
Yeah. They want starting pitching at their price that they're going to turn into hidden gems. And they did it year 1, smashing success. And we'll see how it goes in year 2. I just think that you need at least the one.
I agree.
Out and at least go get one of Burnes or Fried. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't. I mean, I understand
I agree.
the thought process. I do in today's day and age, the starting pitcher has become, less and less important, going less and less innings. We just saw what happened, the World Series champion through, how many, what was it, three between the NLCS and the World Series, 3 bullpen games. Like, I get it, but I think they need someone at the top of the rotation. Kodai Senga, how can you feel comfortable going into the season with Kodai Senga as your 8th?
The Mets could very well right now, without us realizing it, have the ace on their team. Kodai Senga could absolutely replicate what he did in 2023, and we would walk away and say, wow, they had the ace the entire time. David Peterson could very well just continue what he did. If David Peterson continued what he did in 2024, he's an ace. Like, he actually pitched that well over the final few months of the season. But I agree with you that I would take the risk on one arm. The one guy of the projects, if you will, the one guy who's a non-certainty, who if the Mets sign, I could easily talk myself into thinking he could very well be the ace. In fact, I don't have to talk myself into it. I think he very well could be, is Walker Buehler. Because I think Walker Buehler has already shown it. He had the Tommy John. It's obviously been a recovery for him. And you saw it late last year how he got better and better and better. So if they got Buehler on some kind of whatever you want to call it, 3-year opt-out after one deal where Buehler could re-enter free agency, and then, of course, the Mets wouldn't keep him because he has a great year. He'll get a 7-year deal somewhere else. It's not certainty, but I'd feel better about that than just continuing to get the projects. But they don't want to give long-term contracts to starters unless you're Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Think about that, Big Mac. They were willing to give him 1 million years, but not Corbin Burns and Max Fried.
Yeah, weird. I agree with you. I don't understand the thought process, but we'll see. I would love Peterson to be a Yankee. How do we make that?
So do you have a offer on how you can get David Peterson to the Yankees? Because I don't think you have what it takes, bro.
No, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what it would like. I like, and we talked about the two teams and trying to come together. Like, I mean, right now, but believe it or not, both teams kind of are very incomplete. So if we're going to do this without giving up prospects, like to me, I mean, I could we package? I don't know if you would want to do it because of the depth of pitching, but like the two guys I want would be Budo or Peterson. Like,
what?
That's what, like, I don't know. Would some of the top tier prospects in the Yankee farm system sway you into that? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know.
You got to think about this. You got to think about this in a way of what can help you and what can help me. So let me give you a.
That's what
Juan
I'm saying. Those
Soto.
are two guys I'm interested in. Who are you? Who would you be interested in?
Well, I'm not interested, but I'm going to throw this at you. I'm going to give you a scenario where Juan Soto leaves. Juan Soto tonight, live here on the Rico Brogna, on our very special Juan Soto wait party, picks the New York Mets. It's gone. And now you got to go to plan B, man. You got to figure crap out. What if I told you I would be able to get you a right fielder, a solid one, a decent one, does have a tough time staying healthy, and you're actually going to even out the money so you're not going to have to absorb too much, which allows Hal to get a right fielder and then still go out and be really aggressive, wherever that other aggressiveness is. Maybe it's signing Corbin Burns. Maybe it's signing Christian Walker. Completely up to you. I don't know if I make this trade, and I think Met fans may not like this trade, but I'm going to propose it to you anyway, and you tell me. You have acquired Starling Marte. Congratulations. He is now a New York Yankee. And all you're sending back is Marcus Stroman. Your thoughts?
Well, you've made it appealing, haven't you? I didn't think you could make it appealing. Marcus Stroman for that $2 million difference.
Well, here's the money. I'm going to give you the scenario just so we all have the facts. All right. So Marte is going to make $19.5 million final year of his deal. Okay. So it's 19.5 and then it's over. Stroman makes 18.3. So you're picking up 1.2, but Marcus Stroman has a vesting option in 2026 where if he throws 140 innings, and quite frankly, he better throw 140 innings. I mean, if you throw less than that, you've been hurt and you're a disappointment. But if he gets to 140, he has another $18.3 million. And I think that's where the Met fan says no because they don't like Marcus Stroman. They didn't like the experience when it ended. honestly, I never had an issue with Marcus Stroman. I don't really care about his personality. I look at the pitcher, and I think that the Mets could use another arm in the rotation. As much as I'd love an ace, and Stroman is not an ace, he gives you another arm to throw out there, especially because they're probably going to need a 6-man rotation with Kodai Senga. So I think the negative is, for Met fans, the negative listening right now is going to be they don't like Marcus Stroman. Okay? And that's fine. Whatever. I don't personally care about it. I'm looking at the player. The negative outside of that is he's probably going to have an extra year on his deal. So the Mets are going to be absorbing an extra $18.5 million on a starting pitcher. But here's the positive. 2 years, $36 million for Marcus Stroman. Is that really bad when you look at what Matthew Boyd got? When you look at even what Frankie Montas got?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And for you, you're getting rid of the Stroman contract. And even if you did keep Juan, I mean, if you kept Juan Soto, this makes no sense. I want to make that clear because you don't need another outfielder. But if you lost Juan Soto, there's a guy who you keep your fingers crossed. He's healthy, productive player.
Yeah, I mean, the deal's fair. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's fair. I don't know if I would. I mean, I want to see what my options are. I think they probably have a tough time unloading him. So, I mean, I'd rather have him. I thought they were. I think they're trying to just save money on the deal by getting rid of Stroman, and this doesn't do that. And it does provide a solid player. I mean, yeah, these are tough because, yes, I think that's a fair deal. You've made an offer, and I would, in a perfect world, say yes. But now, am I making him my everyday right fielder? I guess I am, and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's only a 1 year, right? So you got 1 year, and you can hit the free agent market next year with another outfielder. You got Dominguez coming. I don't want Judge in center field anymore, so I would probably.
That's got to end. I agree with you.
That's got to end. I want Judge, so I kind of want to move Judge back to right, not to left. I don't know how it fits the Yankees. The deal's immensely fair, and I think it benefits the Yankees. I like the Yankee side of it. I just don't know if it fits with what they're trying to do.
Can I give you my favorite Met Yankee trade? And this one, this is my favorite one. And I think when everyone first hears it, Met fans and Yankee fans are going to be like, shut up, this is stupid. And then when you crunch the numbers and you think about it, it makes a lot of sense.
Vientos for Dominguez. I'm in.
I'm surprised you haven't asked for Mark Vientos yet. I know you won't.
I know it's unrealistic.
What you'd have to
unrealistic. You got a rookie stud on your hands. I mean,
I know.
I mean, why the hell would you trade him?
I think we were talking about the Mariners in the last couple of days about how they have so many good young starting pitching, so many good young starting pitchers, and that if you wanted one of those guys, any one of them, Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, name the guy, it doesn't even matter.
Right.
They're going to ask for Mark Vientos, and you can understand why. They're going to give you a 25-year-old starting pitcher who's really good with 4 years of team control. Like, you're not getting him for nothing, especially a competing team. So I think in that case, it would be like a Clark Schmidt. That would be Clark Schmidt plus for a Mark Vientos. I wouldn't even say yes to that. I don't even know how you would feel about that. But that's literal. Oh, you would do that. Oh, there you go.
Hell yeah, I'd do that. Yeah. Clark Schmidt plus what? Yeah,
I don't know.
Mark Vientos, absolutely, I would do that. Yes.
All right. Well, I didn't offer it, so.
And I like Clark Schmidt, but I'm sorry, I'm trying to watch all this stuff.
Watch what stuff? All the Juan Soto news will break here.
I'm just saying, what if something happens in the football game? I got a show to do,
Oh, that's right. There's a football. I'm DVRing that, so don't tell me what's going on.
I'm trying to watch it.
This is our Juan Soto wait party. So we're having a good time waiting for Juan Soto to decide. Is there any update, Pete? Has Juan Soto has he farted yet? Has he gone to the bathroom?
So I do have an update from a co-worker of yours. You may know him as Morash. And he said, I can't stress this enough to fellow Yankee fans. If Soto actually did go to the Mets, let their fans have their night. He's a special player. And don't do the fake act where you start calling him overrated and say it won't or wouldn't be great for the Mets. Do you feel like this is a troll or a mush job by Morash?
Getting to know Sean has been very adamant, like Big Mac, that Soto's not leaving. He has not wavered. He hasn't gone back and forth. He has been adamant really since the trade went down because our conversations around Juan Soto was before the trade. Like about a month before the trade, I was bringing up to them, Soto's great for the Yankees. I would not trade for him for the Mets. and that there is a scenario where the Yankees trade for him and then the Mets just steal him away in a year. And that started us arguing about this. And Sean would always say that can't happen. Like the Yankees would not trade for him and then lose him.
Rent in the Bronx, buying Queens. That was
that was me. Yeah. Rent in the Bronx, buying Queens. That was me. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But Sean, to his credit, and to your credit too, Big Mac, I think you've been pretty consistent, have from the beginning said he's not leaving. And so many times on the air, I've gotten Sean to kind of talk about how much he loves Soto, how great he is, and promise that he isn't going to do what he described, which is turn on Soto if he leaves by describing him as not being that good.
Yeah.
Which you hear sometimes from people, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, he's great. He's a great player. He's not a perfect player. Nobody ever thought that, but he's a great, great player. So
see his lead off of first in the World Series? Guy can't get a lead off the bag. He's a terrible base runner. Why the hell would you want to pay that guy? Joke. Guy can't play the outfield. I mean, forget the fact that he was, a finalist for the Gold Glove because he led the league.
Man. Come on.
No, dude, we're gonna beat you up on that one. Forget it.
I'm kidding. I know, but he had a lot of outfield assists. But no, he can't run the bases. He can't do this. Blah blah blah. He's a 280 hitter. It's just okay.
And to Sean's point, Met fans shouldn't do the same. If Soto decides to stay with the Yankees, which I still think he will, we can't act like, we don't need him. Because I can promise you this. We'll do Rico's with plan Bs. None of the plan Bs are as good as plan A. 100%. That's just the reality. Like, we can come up with whatever plan you want, and everyone can have their own, and the Mets will pivot. Doesn't mean we're giving up. Doesn't mean they suck. Doesn't mean they can't win the World Series. But the best option for the Mets is to get Juan Soto. So I think that applies to us too. Mm-hmm. If we lose him and don't want to lose him, or we don't get him, don't turn and say, he sucked anyway.
Yeah.
Good luck with that for 15 years. Like, that's just such a loser kind of opinion to have.
Can I just say that this is breaking news to nobody, but the best option for Juan Soto is the Dodgers. I mean, that's going to be the next, super team for a decade.
But you know what, Pete? Here's what this comes down to. And it's such a simple thing, but it's the reality. I am very different than Big Mac, even though we feel very similar sometimes. Who's very different than Pete, who's very different than Craig Carton, right? We're all very different people. Mm-hmm. So what I mean by that is my personality is that of, I want to be in a place where I want to be, and I want to be successful. I wouldn't have the thought of, I need to be the star, or I need to do this. Other people may. And so in Juan Soto's case, we could sit here and speculate. What does Juan want? Does he just want to rack up championships? Then you're right, Pete. Go to L.A. I mean, the Dodgers win 100 games every year. And then in the years where they don't win 100 games, they win the World Series, like this past year. Like, they are, I think we'd all agree, the easiest avenue or the best avenue to winning multiple championships is to go to the Los Angeles Dodgers. You agree with that, Big Mac? Is that a fair statement?
I'm sorry.
He's not paying attention. He's out.
Not sorry. Well, Bill Madden. I think this is him, right?
Just say what Bill Madden said.
Actually, I'm not sure it's him.
John Madden?
No, Bill Madden.
No, Bill Madden's got a weird Twitter account. It's probably him. What did
Bill Madden 1954. It's only got
that's Bill Madden.
3.5 thousand followers, though. It seems like.
What did Bill Madden say, Big Mac?
Yankees deserve credit for apparently going well beyond their comfort zone at 750 to 760 million.
Wow.
For Soto, but word is now Cohen is going to 800 million. If so, he'll be gone. If so, he'll be alone with the 800 million offer, I guess.
By the way,
he'll be the only one making it 800 million.
If the Mets go to 800 million, I feel like a real winner here, because that was my push last night. Like, what are we doing? Let's just go to 800 million.
Again, I don't know if this is. I don't want to put that out there. Like,
is that the guy? That's the one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So here's the thing with Bill Madden's Twitter account. I'm going to give you an answer to this.
3.5 thousand followers seems light. The name, I don't care.
I'm going to give you an answer to this, and it's going to be very near and dear to your heart.
Yeah.
So Bill Madden, who, by the way, I have great respect for. He's one of the great baseball writers of all time. One of my early shows I ever did at FAN, Bill Madden came on, and we had the funniest miscommunication in the history. Well, it's really not the history, but we had a fun miscommunication about the now late Jose Lima. Remember Jose Lima?
Sure.
Jose Lima just got bombed. Like he pitched for the Mets and he got bombed. And my question, and it was worded so horribly, but I'm young and stupid. I said, how done is Jose Lima? Like, how done is he? He's so washed up. And Bill Madden says, how dumb is Jose Lima? He was so offended. And I said, I apologize, Bill. I meant how done is he? He looks washed up.
Yeah.
And Bill's like, yeah, no, that I agree with. But it was
that he's definitely done.
So Bill Madden during the lockout. Remember the MLB lockout that we were all sweating out?
Yes.
Bill Madden would tweet a lot about the lockout, and it was very, very negative. And I would follow him, and I had the same concerns you had. Like, is this Bill Madden? He's got, like, no followers. Like, who is this guy? And then he had a lot of other political tweets, and I was surprised. Like, I guess he's political. Who cares? I don't care. I'm just trying to verify if this is really Bill Madden or not. And he turned out to be pretty accurate with a lot of the things he was saying. Yeah. So I'm not telling you to follow that with the gospel, but at a Juan Soto watch party, is that where? Oh, Wade party, not a watch party. It's a Wade party.
No,
I got to get my own name correct.
I know. Listen, if that's Bill Madden, I do think he has some Yankee connections to the Lontrosts and Randy Levines of the world. Like I don't like that. That sounds like the Yankees just said, "Hey, look, we're going to 750. Now we're told it's 800. We're not going to do 800." That's what it sounds like to me.
If that's the case, though, and look,
now,
this is perfect.
Now I'm nervous. Now I'm worried.
Big Mac's worried. You can see it. You can hear it in his voice. But this goes back to what we were trying to say before Bill Madden's annoying tweet. What does someone want? We're all speculating. We don't know what he wants. So if he wants to just win, the LA Dodgers is a great fit. If he really does have an affinity for the Red Sox, and David Ortiz and Pedro Martinez, and he grew up as a Red Sox fan, then how could you match that? Go to Boston. Mm-hmm. If he loved the Bronx and the history of it and the pinstripes and being in Monument Park, stay with the Yankees. The Met appeal, and again, I don't even know if Juan Soto wants this, so don't take this as me telling you this is why he's coming to the Mets, but one of the Mets appeals is he comes here, he will be, if he performs, he'll get a statue for himself. You know, the great Joe's McFly. You know Joe's McFly?
I do.
About John Boy Medium.
Hey,
we've had Joe's on a bunch of times. He's a great guy. I'm sure Yankee fans who are checking in enjoy his content. But Joe's McFly tweeted out something very similar this morning where he said, if Juan Soto signs with the Mets, he's the greatest Met player of all time. And he got pushed back because a lot of it say Tom Seaver exists. Right. And obviously that's true. Tom Seaver is the greatest Met of all time. But I don't think like that's the point. The point Joe's is making, and he's right, is that if Juan Soto at 26 came to the Mets and continued to put up the numbers he's put up, he's in the Hall of Fame, he's first ballot, he's wearing a Met hat, and think about the amount of position players that have done that. It is not it's Mike Piazza. We do not have a long list of position players who put that Met hat on in the Hall of Fame. And so for Soto, if that matters, maybe it doesn't, there's a chance he has a statue of himself outside of Citi Field. And I'll take it up a notch, Big Mac. This will blow your mind. He may not even have to win a World Series to have that happen. And for those that think I'm crazy, look at the way David Wright is lionized. Look at the way Mike Piazza's lionized. Obviously, we want to win a world championship, but our bar, which I know is being raised under Cohen, is still that of just be a great player. And, win one championship. He's an icon.
No, that's enough. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so if that's what he wants, that's what the Mets offer. But none of us know what this guy wants.
No.
Hold on. We do have breaking news.
Is it about Juan Soto or something else?
It's a former New York athlete going to the LA Dodgers. Michael Conforto.
Michael Conforto to the Dodgers.
That means they're out on Soto.
There you go.
Are
they in now? Are the Yankees?
People are running with that Bill Madden thing.
Well, you dropped it.
Pete. Big Mac is dying right before our eyes. Just let him die like a slug. Just watch him. Did you hear that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, how do you feel confident?
Excuse me?
Has this changed your mind? Do you feel confident?
No, I do not feel confident. That's why I'm enjoying you freaking out because I'm not affected by this because at the end of the day, I ain't believing Juan Soto is a Met until Juan Soto is a Met. You know what I mean?
Right. But he's not yours. You know what I'm saying?
I never said he's mine. That's what I'm saying. I won't believe he's a Met till he's a Met.
I know what I'm saying. Yeah, but you can sit there and just, you never had him. If you don't get him, it's disappointing. You never had him.
Yeah. Okay, so here's where you're right, but of course wrong at the same time.
No, I'm not wrong. I'm right. I'm just right. It's going to be worse for a Yankee fan to lose him than it is for the Mets to never have him.
So let me teach everybody a little bit about Big Mac. You may be familiar with him because you listen to him in the overnight. One thing I've learned about Big Mac is when he gets more combative, that's when he gets more nervous. So now he's getting very combative about this, which means Bill Madden's ruining his brain right now. Yes, the Mets never had Juan Soto. Okay, obviously, they never had him. But since Steve Cohen bought the team, we have been waiting for Steve Cohen to be the kind of the cartoon character maybe we've created in our mind. He's got more money than anybody. He's going to get the player he wants. And while he has spent a lot of money, and I appreciate that, he hasn't done that yet. You know, signing Max Scherzer was not that. Signing Justin Verlander after losing Jacob deGrom was not that. Having a really high payroll, the highest payroll in baseball, great, was not that. This is the moment, and I think you could have argued Ohtani was that guy last year too, but it never went anywhere because he had no interest. This is the moment we've been waiting for where he proves he's the owner we've dreamt of. And quite frankly, if you look at the next couple of years, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is not Juan Soto. He's a great, great player, and he's young, but this is the free agent for the next half a decade that really makes the difference when you combine age and performance. So you're right, we wouldn't be losing him, but you know what we would be losing, Big Mac? The idea of Steve Cohen would be dead if they didn't get him.
I think you're full of it. I think the idea of Steve Cohen would be dead. You kidding me? Sal would open up. Sal opens the show at 10 o'clock talking about King. We still haven't lost faith. You got. I understand he has.
But hold on a second. A couple of things. Yeah. The idea of Steve Cohen would be dead, not actual Steve Cohen. So let's make that clear.
Well, yeah.
And he would still be a big market owner, but he wouldn't be the guy we dreamt of. And as far as Sal's concerned, I'm pretty confident. I can't speak for him, obviously. I respect him as a fellow Met fan, but I'm pretty confident that if they don't end up with Juan Soto, he will also look at Steve Cohen a little bit differently and may not call him King anymore.
Right. I don't know. I'm sorry. I understand what you're saying. The perceived notion of the owner as opposed to losing the player who hit the home run to send them to the World Series that you saw in your uniform, got to go cheer for him, that you bought your kids all jerseys of him, like to lose him to the Mets for $800 million. I'm sorry. It's worse for a Yankee fan to lose Juan Soto than it is for a Met fan to never have him. I don't care what you talk. I don't care that, the perception of the owner. We'll have to wait until the next free agent that he goes out and buys. They've had the highest payroll in baseball 2 years running. You know he's going to spend money. I mean, it's not like he's not going to spend money. He's just he couldn't convince Juan Soto to do this one. Listen, it's disappointing. The Mets have a great chance to get him. It would be a huge move for Steve Cohen, and it would prove him to be the guy you're talking about. But I'm sorry. For a Yankee fan to lose Juan Soto is worse than for a Met fan to have to go, well, is Steve Cohen really the man we thought, or just someone who's going to give us the highest payroll in baseball year after year?
Can I just say something and interrupt here? Because I love you, C-Mac, but you're dead wrong because how many times has the Yankees had these top stars? You've had A-Rod. You've rented so many players before the past anyway. It's 1 year. He's not your guy. He's not your guy.
If they went out meekly to the Kansas City Royals, maybe he wouldn't be my guy. He's Chris Chambliss, but he's Hall of Famer Juan Soto. He just hit the home run to send them to the World Series. He's the difference. Judge faded, he rose. I'm just saying they haven't been to the World since in 15 years. Everybody cries about it like it's a God-given, birthright. And we've been crying about it every single day, killing Cashman, killing whoever, because we haven't made it to the World Series in 15 years. He's the one difference that they made. And he sent them to the World Series, one of the classic at-bats in baseball history. But no, you're right. It'd be worse because I've had this before.
Just consider him like Lance Berkman or Matt Holliday. That's who he is. He was a year rental. That's what he was. Always was. That's it.
What? Lance Berkman? Come on, man. Stop.
Pete,
I know.
Pete,
I know
Pete.
you. Quit and please put both of you. Put your violins away. I mean, when he talk, we've never had players like this. Oh, all it would prove is the owner can give us the highest payroll, but not like the move.
Yeah.
Like, oh, please. Oh, stop.
Well, that last part you mocked, I stand by that. And
I'm not saying you're wrong, but it's not the same as losing your guy.
he is.
If he was a Met, it would be much worse for the Met fan. He just played in the World Series.
Well, so the only comparison that I have where I can say, hey, let me give you something very similar, and it's as close as I can get, is actually Mike Hampton. And I don't think it's that far off when you really think about it. So the Mets trade for this ace, right? This big-time young ace, but he only has 1 year left on his deal. And they gave up a lot to get him. And Mike Hampton comes to the Mets, and what happens? He leads them to the World Series. And by lead them, he had a very good year after a tough start, and he won the NLCS MVP. So throw that in there that he had maybe not the same epic moment as Juan Soto, but he had an epic game, pitched a one unbelievable complete game in Game 5. They beat the St. Louis Cardinals. So I guess from the aspect of trading for a player relatively young, ace, so not a position player, we had that. Losing Mike Hampton sucked, but it was different than losing Jacob deGrom. It was different than losing even Jose Reyes, believe it or not. Because I think I looked at Mike Hampton very transactionally when they lost him. I was upset that they lost the player, Big Mac. I wasn't upset that they lost someone I had developed a connection with. And I don't know if that's the same with Soto, that this would be purely, hey, I'm losing a great player, and you are, but that'd be transactional more than the emotion of losing someone that you watched grow and was on your team for 5 years. Does that at least make sense?
Yes. No. Would losing Judge have hurt more than losing Juan Soto? Not even close. Of course. I get that. But it's not like you're not the team. It's not like you're the guy losing the Judge or the player who's been for 5 years.
No.
You're saying to me, oh, it's not that bad. You only had him a year. You never had him.
I didn't say.
Like, how could you say, oh, it's only been a year, it's not that bad? Not a day.
Hold on.
I didn't say it's worse.
Did I say it's not that bad? Of course it's bad.
Right.
I'm just saying how much it would hurt us, and more than just building a roster. Because look, the Mets can still build a roster without signing Juan Soto. I get that. It's more the idea of this kind of king-like move. You know, the move that we've been dreaming about. And look, if he ends up bidding, and this is where I think things do get complicated, I admit this. If Steve Cohen bidded, I don't know if that's a word. If he bids $800 million, the offer I tweeted out the other day, 15 years, $800 million, and Hal calls up Soto and says the same thing with Aaron Judge. He's like, look.
What do you need?
Not even what do you need, just we got to 760. Okay? We love you. We want you to stay. I just want to formally apologize to you. We cannot go to 800. I feel like we've gone as far as we can go. I hope this proves that we really want you on this team, but I don't want you to take it personal. We're done at 760. We hope you change your mind and take this offer, but we're out. And Juan says, you know what? I'm going to stay. You're right. Thank you. You got the 760. You got close enough. I'm going to stay. It is going to be more difficult for me to then go to Steve Cohen and say, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
800? Because 800 feels like the baller move. It feels like that's the offer that would make him stay. And if you go to 800, like, I don't know if I could come on the Rico and say, well, you should have gone to 850.
Yeah.
So maybe I will. Maybe that's what I'm going to end up saying. Like, screw it. It wasn't enough. I've always said you have to overbid for guys. You didn't overbid enough, but 800 is such a huge offer that if that doesn't get it done, it is going to be tough for me to then say, how come you didn't bid more? You know?
No, I get you. I agree. There'll be a line, but I'm just saying that it's far worse for the Yankee fan. That's all. It is definitely worse to lose your guy than to miss out on a guy that you wanted but never had. It's
but
just
the other thing that you aren't taking into account. Say it again.
It's more painful.
Okay, there is something you're not taking into account that I want to at least present to you. And then I do have that Met Yankee trade that I still haven't gotten to.
Yes.
Because we're at a Juan Soto wait party, and sometimes we get distracted by Juan Soto. And by the way, Big Mac, I know you work. So if there's any point where you need to leave the wait party, you just let me know. You are more than welcome to leave. I'm not going to keep you hostage all night.
There.
So you just let the Ricoers know, and we will give you a round of applause, and you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I think 10 o'clock is
10 o'clock's your cutoff. I have no idea what time it is even now. So.
Like 9:30. So
Okay.
you got another half hour.
All right. Anyhow, you are not taking into account how obnoxious Yankee fans are. And that doesn't mean you. I don't think you're necessarily that guy. So if Soto re-signs with the Yankees at the end of this Juan Soto wait party, it's not just you kept him and you just missed out on a free agent, Met fans. Think about the most obnoxious Yankee fan you know. You don't have to say their name. Just think about them. Put them in your brain. And if you want to say their name into a microphone, you're more than welcome to.
I don't know that many. I think it's overrated that there's all these obnoxious Yankee fans.
Sean Morash, you want to say his name? That's fine.
I suppose. Is he obnoxious? Is he an obnoxious Yankee fan?
I don't know. You tell me. Brandon Tierney.
Yeah,
you
I don't
want to
know.
say his name?
No.
He's
obnoxious? No, not at all.
Keith McPherson, you want to say his name?
No, I wouldn't say obnoxious. I mean, he had his moments with Met fans, but I don't know if he's that. Because if you listen to Keith,
obnoxious of the three, Sean.
I guess. But I would be. Sean's probably worrying about how much money they paid Igor Shesterkin over whether or not Juan Soto's going to come back. So
wow,
I don't know if
wow, that's a shot right there.
That's right. Yeah, no, he's more worried about.
Imagine your most obnoxious Yankee fans and what they will say to us Met fans after we bid $800 million and Soto doesn't take it. You know what I mean? Like that's the other aspect of this that. Look, we're going to try to move on from. I'm not going to spend that much time on the Rico, bitching about Yankee fans being mean to us. But it is a part of our everyday life. You go to the bus stop with your kids, there's a Yankee fan there. Yeah. You go to work, there's a Yankee fan there. You go to the corner drugstore, there's a Yankee fan there. So I do think you have to at least take that into account, that is a part of it as well.
Yeah, but you're not seeing the other side of that. Because there are obnoxious Met fans. Let's just say it's less, fine, whatever. And even though this is not fair, and your argument might be, well, too bad, it's about time or whatever, the Yankee fan has never had to feel this way about the Mets. Suddenly there's a dynamic shift, and the Met fans' obnoxiousness can't be put down by like, oh, you're just a little brother. They just stepped up and stole Juan Soto. So it changes the entire, you got to deal with the same crap you've been dealing with. Suddenly our world is flipped upside down. It's a completely, it's different, man. It's different.
Fair enough. Touche, sir. All right.
Yeah.
Let me throw my very creative Mets-Yankee trade out there. We are at a Juan Soto wait party. We are mixing in some creative Met-Yankee trades. An exercise we do every year. So far, none of those trades have happened. We've never actually had a proposed Met-Yankee trade occur. But this one makes sense. At first, you may scoff to everybody out there. But if you let it sink in, if you think about the financials, which I'll point out, it makes a lot of sense. You are getting 2 baseball players. I am getting 1 baseball player. Do you want to hear about the guy I'm getting or the guys you're getting first, Big Mac?
No. How about the guy you're getting? Let's hear who I'm losing.
The New York Mets are acquiring Giancarlo Stanton.
I had a weird sneaking suspicion you were going to get Stanton involved in this conversation. All right, so I'm giving you Stanton.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I've always been a Stanton guy, and maybe it's because he has caused great damage to the New York Mets over the years, long before he was a Yankee. When he was traded from the Marlins to the Yankees, my first reaction was, thank God that man is out of the National League East, because he has put up some crazy numbers against the Mets over the course of his career. So the Mets acquire Giancarlo Stanton. The New York Yankees acquire Starling Marte and Jeff McNeil. Right off the top, before we get to the finances, your thoughts?
No.
Okay. Let me explain the finances for everybody out there. Starling Marte, and we mentioned him a little bit earlier when we talked about a proposed Marte for Stroman trade. Starling Marte makes $19.5 million this year, and that's it. Then he's gone. Free agent at the end of the year. Yep. Jeff McNeil makes $15.7 million this year. He also makes $15.7 million next year. And then there's a team option, like your choice, on another $15.7 for McNeil, or you could buy him out for just $2 million. So this season, if you combine Marte and McNeil, they make $34.5 million. Giancarlo this season is at $32 million. So the Yankees would be picking up about $2.5–3 million this year, but they'd be getting two players, one of which I think fits your team very well, and that's Jeff McNeil. Whether Soto resigns or not, I think you'd agree McNeil, he's a Swiss Army knife, can play left field, can play second base. He has played third base, though not a lot, but he can play third base. And he showed something in the second half this past year after getting off to another bad start. I don't know how you feel about McNeil overall, but you have to admit he's a useful player that kind of fits the Yankees.
Yeah, no, absolutely true. He can play second base, play a little outfield, left-handed. At Yankee Stadium, maybe his home runs jump up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, he's a useful player. I don't hate him. I don't think we'll ever see the best of Jeff McNeil again. Not for a complete season. I think he has his streaks, but I don't think he's going to compete for another batting title. I don't think I don't think he's that guy.
The rest of this contract layout, just so you hear. So this year, the Yankees would be picking up $2.5 million, and maybe the Mets pay that off. Maybe there's in the deal, hey, let's make this a sweet, even money deal for year one.
Right.
In year two, Marte is gone, so forget about him. McNeil is at 15.7. Giancarlo is at 19. So the Mets would be absorbing about $3.5 million. And then in the third year, which is the last year of Stanton's contract, he only has 3 years left. Stanton is due $15 million. Remember, the Marlins have paid a lot of this. That's why that number is not that crazy. And McNeil is due right around the same, or you can buy him out for $2 million, which would be a savings of $13 million. So you're talking about potentially saving about $17 million. And all I've heard from Yankee fans over the last couple of years, maybe not as much after the postseason, is he's a waste. He's just a DH. Boy, we should just find a way to get rid of him. Obviously, as a full no trade, you'd have to talk him about going to Queens. He doesn't have to go anywhere. So maybe that's an easier sell if he likes New York.
And he wants to win, and they're winning. Yeah. Or perceived to be winning.
Perceived winning. I mean, come on. We got to make the playoffs back-to-back before
that'd be nice.
Freaking organization.
But
why don't you like it? Because you said no at first. Tell me why you don't.
I mean, everything you just said makes sense. I'm a Stanton guy, and I don't think as injury prone as he is, he's always found a way to make it to the end of the year. His bat speed is still elite, so it's not like he's washed or age has ravaged him into something else. He goes through stretches where he loses his swing, no doubt. He's not, a great player anymore. But I think he has done everything. And this is partial just because I'm a little sentimental towards Stanton. He's done everything they've ever asked him to do. He is still very good when he plays. And I mean, look, if all we care about is the postseason, and we're going to talk about Judge's track record in the postseason like it's real, the fact of the matter is the guy is unbelievable in the playoffs. Like, he's unbelievable. I agree. I mean, I have to put value on that. If we're going to talk like nothing else matters, especially if they get, Juan Soto, and I expect them to be a winning team. I mean, I expect them to be a winning team anyway, but I just think I don't want any part of moving on from Giancarlo. I not now. I don't want to move on from him. I mean, what you're saying is fair, but I would have to get a better deal than Marte for 1 year, and then Jeff McNeil, who I don't love, who I don't know, and I know this is probably unfair, and sometimes you need a shakeup and a little bit of a different guy, but I don't know if he's exactly beloved in that room. I don't know what kind of attitude or whatever he's bringing, especially getting, maybe you get a pissed off best version of Jeff McNeil if he gets traded to the Yankees, but I don't know. Mark McNeil isn't enough to make me want to say goodbye to Stanton and pinstripes.
I guess I've always been under the impression that Yankee fans have just wanted to rid themselves of Giancarlo.
No, I don't. Yeah, no. Oh, they do. They do. A lot of Yankee fans do. I think a lot of Yankee fans would say yes to this deal. You mentioned a couple like BT. I think BT would absolutely say yes to this deal. I think there are Yankee fans who view him. Look, he can't run either. I mean, he literally. I don't know if he can.
Get it. Trust me.
I'm assuming he can run better than this. It's It's a injury preventative strategy of just not moving.
No doubt.
I don't know if it works, but we'll find out. But yeah, I mean, he can't run. He clogs up the bases. He goes through long stretches where he can't. He has swings that look like I would be up there. Like, that's how lost he looks at times, and it bothers people. When he's locked in, he's still a dangerous threat. He's a threat in that lineup behind, hopefully, Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. And I just don't think Marte or McNeil bring what he brings.
Yeah, I think the negative of Giancarlo Stanton is the negative of being locked in with one DH.
Right.
And I've now grown to have to accept the DH because I've always been anti-DH, but I'm a National League fan. I'm a Met fan. So these DH discussions that I would have would be about other teams I don't root for. Now I'm having it about a team I do root for. And it's amazing. It's been 3 years now of the universal designated hitter. And one thing that I've really started to believe passionately through these 3 years as a fan is I'd rather not be bogged down with one player. But the key phrase is rather not. Doesn't mean you can't. Like this year when they signed J.D. Martinez, I wanted the Mets to sign J.D. Martinez, and I knew full well, he's not versatile enough to play the outfield. Like, that's just not going to happen. He's literally going to be the DH. So sometimes you've got to accept it. I think in the case of Stanton, you said a lot of things that I just agree with. He's still a dangerous hitter. We know how clutch he's been in October. I would deal with the fact that I've got DH, quote unquote, clogged with one player, which is why for the Met fans out there who may be screaming at their, I don't know how they consume us, their phone or their iPad. One of my friends in the Mets text chat is actually watching this Rico Brogna on his TV screen. So I guess you can do that. You put the YouTube on the TV screen. I guess that is
yes. You can. It's smart TVs. They have apps.
That's right.
On them, and you just pull the app up, and YouTube.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I actually do that every single night. Like, I have YouTube on every night,
right?
Especially for my 8-year-old. He likes to put on old wrestling or Mr. Beast as he's sleeping. So it's either going to be Mr. Beast or it's Andre the Giant fighting Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
One of those two things.
You know what my little guy got into? I don't know. I guess my wife put it on yesterday or 2 days ago, but all of a sudden, the last couple of days, he wants to watch that show. Is it Cake? Have you heard this? Where it's like, I guess they bake stuff and make it look like real objects, and you have to guess which one's real and which one's cake.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a real kick out of that.
I know my kids watched that a year ago. They love that.
Yeah, they love
Another
that.
one, I don't know if they've done it yet, is Floor is Lava.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Floor is Lava. Yep. Loves it.
And here's the third one. All right. I'm not just saying this. Beastmaster.
That I don't know.
Oh, you're not familiar with Beastmaster?
I know Mr. Beast. We just talked about. No, what's Beastmaster?
Beastmaster,
dude. One of our hosts was on that show. One of your coworkers.
That's not why I brought it up though, Pete. Because I swear to God, my kids were watching Beastmaster, and then one day, randomly, my wife got to tell them, "You see that guy? That guy's gonna work with Daddy really soon." Tiki Barber's on Beastmaster.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I still don't know what it is.
It's a good show. It's like, if I'm correct, it's like almost like an American Ninja Warrior, where they do like crazy stunts and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it's all like by countries.
Yeah.
Am I correct in that?
It's basically, it's Olympic American Ninja Guts, which I'm sure you watched as a kid. And Tiki Barber was one of the hosts along with CM Punk. Talk about two guys that I have like relationships with. Tiki, I work with. CM Punk, I just watch on TV all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
How about that? CM Punk and Tiki Barber. I think I do remember. I remember him talking that he knew CM Punk right around the time when he was coming back to WWE. You guys talked about it.
That's
right.
He
said he hadn't spoken to him in a while. I didn't remember that it was because he hosted Beastmaster. Or
that is right. Now, for those that are wondering,
Man versus Bear or whatever, right? Didn't Tierney do a man?
I have no
idea. I think Tierney
hosted
Man
versus Bear. That's
Man
correct.
versus Bear.
What's that?
Where they just
a show too?
They apparently they just they raced and they had feats of strength and it was
so the man would race the bear?
Yeah. I'm sure right next to each other. I'm sure they would run, time it, and then time the bear. But yes,
damn,
he would compete against the bear.
Did the bear ever just stop the race and eat the person that it was running against? That's what I just swallow him whole, call it a day.
No, they probably didn't run next. I'm sure they didn't have this guy running right next to a bear. They probably ran an obstacle course, timed it, and then had the bear go out there after everyone was safe.
I mean, it sounds awesome. I'm sure they had like events like, hey, catch fish with your bear claws in the water.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I think they had a thing like this years ago. I remember like athletes. It was different athletes who were good at different things. Didn't Chad Ochocinco race a cheetah or something? Like I remember he did it. He competed in it. There was like a bunch of guys. There was like different people who competed. An Olympian against another animal hanging onto the to the bars or something. I don't know. I thought I remember a show like that.
Interesting. No, I don't, man. That's for sure.
No?
So right now, as we sit here at our Juan Soto weight party, Chris McMonagle of WFAN came on and was very confident he'd be a New York Yankee.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one singular tweet by Bill
no
Madden.
news out today, yeah.
Bill Madden, who I don't think he's covered sports in like a million years, but was a famous baseball writer, tweets out that I'm sorry.
It's definitely him because, by the way, because I know it's not a lot of tweets on there, but like a lot of people follow him. I think Figueroa, you follow him. I think
it is Bill Madden. There's no disputing it's Bill Madden, but Bill Madden simply tweeted out the Yankees deserve credit for apparently going well beyond their comfort zone at $750 to $760 million for Soto. But word now is Cohen is going to $800 million. If so, he'll be alone. Mm-hmm. That tweet has caused Big Mac to panic.
Yes.
So right now,
yes.
Where is your confidence level on Juan Soto remaining with the New York Yankees?
I'm still fairly confident. I would say 60-40. But I do think I think what I always thought. He's going to turn down money to be a Yankee. Like I've never had a misconception that Hal would go to the same place. So if I've ever been confident, I suppose that story shouldn't shake me because I've always thought he would have to turn down money to be a Yankee. And I felt okay about it as long as they did what they've done. But I never expected $800 million. And if you have a nice round, like I always said, it, if the Yankees go above 7, I'm fairly confident they're going to get him. I've always felt that way. Once that report came out, I felt that way. To think he's going to go to $800 million and give him another like nice round number of $800 million, like it makes me a little nervous that Juan won't, that Soto's going to say, well, 760 sounds nice there, Hal, but if 800, really, I'm the $800 million man.
If Soto takes $800 million from Steve Cohen, if that report is true, and it happens, and it comes out, because I think what's really important in these stories is not just who gets him, but what was the offer. Like we found that out about Yamamoto. It gave us fair kind of discussion on how far the Yankees went, how far the Mets went. If it comes out that is true.
Yeah.
Cohen offers 800. He signs with the Mets. Hal got the 760. Do you think your Yankee fan brethren will give Hal a break? Because I think Hal has been under a microscope from Yankee fans where there's a perception he's not his dad. He's not really big market. He's cheap, which I think is mostly unfair because look at the money they've spent over the years. They went out and got Garrett Cole. They've spent a lot of money. But do you think your brethren at losing Soto but going up to 760 would give Hal Steinbrenner a little bit of a break? What do you think?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I think, again, I'm not going to pat him on the back like, Bill Madden wants to. Like, they should be commended. I'm not going to commend him for losing out and being a part of it. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to kill him. It's at some point, he had to draw the line and just see where Soto stands on it. Like that, and then we'll see. Like, but I'm gonna have a tough time killing Hal Steinbrenner if you offered him $760 million. I'm gonna have a hard time killing him.
But you know what?
Same thing like you mentioned. Same thing with you. Like if he offers 800 and it's not enough, like it's hard to like. But the owner
here's the
difference. $760 million.
But here's the difference. So the scenario I painted for myself was the Mets offer 800 and Soto accepts the 760. So I'd be ripping the Mets for not going higher than the highest bid.
Right.
And the highest bid that they made was far higher than any of us thought.
Right. In this case,
it's a little bit different.
It is.
The only thing I would say if I'm you would be, wait a second, Hal, if you're already willing to go to 760, why not throw in the $40 extra million, which over the course of 15 years, we're talking about less than $3 million a year. Why not just go to 800 unless the answer is, well, if we went to 800, then he's going to 830, and at some point we just want to stop doing
it. I think that's it. Like I think that's the answer. But I think there's an argument to be said. Then make that last one. Like say, okay, the nice round number of 800 million. You got it. That's it.
And that's it.
That's it. Like whatever the next offer. If Boris calls and says, well, the Mets are at 800, I would be like, okay, I'll match. Don't call me back unless it's yes or no. like that. I mean, because at some point he's got to draw the line. Now, if he already had that conversation with 760, like, how do you go back on it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if he would, like, right now we're saying, oh, do that for 800. But if he called him and said, hey, Mets are at 760, and he said, okay, 760. Don't call me again. Make a decision. And then he goes back on his word. Then he, it's just, it'll never end. If Steve Cohen is determined on getting him, and he's going to be that guy you will hoped he would be, then if Soto wants the money, he's going to get him. I mean, we're in the same. It's funny because we've gone through this whole thing, and we end up pretty much at the same place we started, where the Mets are going to offer more money. Is Soto going to want to be a Yankee or take every last dollar? Like that, we're still here.
At what point, and I don't know if this counts as collusion, Big Mac, at what point does Steve Cohen call up Hal Steinbrenner and say, Hal, I'm going to outbid you.
Right.
So if you want to keep doing this all night, we can do it.
Right.
But at some point, I'm going to keep going. So maybe we can end this now just so you don't cost me an extra $75 million.
Yeah, right.
And I'll help you somewhere down the line, bro.
I laid off Judge, and I'm telling you I'm going to win this thing, so just cut it out.
I have not news, but I have a guess from Eric Boland. I don't know Eric Boland is a good reporter.
Yeah,
I like him. Saw him during the World Series. A good guy. He's a Yankee reporter. He's a Yankee beat writer. So his guess, I would define before I even know it, is a good, smart, educated guess. Go ahead.
Okay. Would guess, and it's a guess, Boris leaks Soto's decision early tomorrow morning.
Son of a bitch! We're gonna wait party all night.
First availability of managers is Monday afternoon, so those impacted get to discuss it. Allow contract news to dominate most of the meetings. Include a big press conference, perhaps Wednesday. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know when we're gonna find out.
Well, here's what I would tell everybody in our audience. The Rico wait party will not last all night, but Chris McMonagle is on.
That is true.
If you're consuming this live at 2 a.m. on WFN in New York, and he's got no choice. He's got to be on for a wait party. So you'll get the Big Mac wait party, and hopefully he doesn't spend too much time, breaking down Devontae Adams going out of bounds.
I don't want to. That's for sure.
That was great.
But, oh, my God, what is he thinking?
No, we're not gonna talk about it here.
Well, I'll just tell you, I'm sorry. Me and you differ. Get a good coach in here and run this thing back. That's it.
Big Mac, we will be listening to you at 2 a.m. Thank you very much for coming on to this very special.
That's it. You got one report saying it's probably going to be tomorrow. It could be tomorrow morning.
Wait. Well, hold on. I'm not going anywhere. You requested nicely.
I said 10 o'clock.
Let us go at 10 o'clock. It's 9:56. Yeah. I'm being a good guy.
You are. Thank you very much.
That's all I'm doing. We're not going anywhere. For everybody out there,
you're staying on.
Yeah, we're gonna stay. We're gonna do it for a little bit longer. The Rico wait party will not end, but I wanted to show respect for you because I appreciate you coming in.
Well, I reserve the right to call back in if it happens.
If it happens and we're still on, you're more than welcome. Thank you, Big Mac.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There he is, Chris Big Mac McMonagle, big Yankee fan. I don't know how long we'll do the Rico wait party. How long have we been on? About an hour and a half right now?
Hour and a half, yeah.
All right. Maybe we'll get to 2 hours. Maybe we'll get to 3 hours, depending on how we feel. Let's go over a couple of things, though. Right now, my confidence level, I'm not like Big Mac. I don't shift with the wind. Not that he was. Every report does not cause me to think differently because I think every report has a reason. I think every report, there's a reason why it's leaked. We talk about that with John Heyman. Just don't do it to John's face and ask if he's going to get, a cut, even though I think that's funny and innocent. So I've got no problem with my guy Keith, but John Heyman guy, a little offended. So when John Heyman tweets something out, and I think we all know this, it's probably coming from Scott Boras. I don't think Bill Madden at this point in his career has any reason to leak stuff other than to just, this is what I've heard. So the question is, who's leaking it to him? I think he's probably got just sources within the Yankees and Major League Baseball, and this is the rumblings. But all it is rumblings. And because all it is rumblings, and because I do think the Yankees have a home field advantage with Soto, and it wouldn't stun me if he took a few dollars less to stay, especially when a few dollars less is not really overwhelming. Like the difference between 760 and 800 over 15 years is not a lot of money. It's $2.5 million. That's all we're talking about. I still sit here today as we do this live. For those consuming it live, it's 10 o'clock on the East on a Sunday night before the winter meetings. I still kind of have that sense, Pete. It's about 60-40. He goes to the New York Yankees. You have been very confident with the Mets this entire time. How are you feeling at this moment?
I feel like, especially after that tweet, and I hate to like read something and be like, oh, that's the reason why I'm forming my opinion. But I've been so locked in. I've always been convinced that Cohen is always going to just blow Soto out of the water where he can't say no. And so far, if it's $800 million is the real number, I'm still convinced on that.
Yeah, so this is what's so weird about negotiations to me. Think back to Beltran. So Carlos Beltran was a guy that Omar Minaya really wanted the Mets to sign after the 2004 season. Beltran had that great run in the postseason. He was 27 or 28 years old, so a little bit older than Juan, but very young as a free agent. And he was the clear, without a shadow of a doubt, that was the elite level free agent that everybody wanted. And so the Mets were really, really aggressive. They had that big offer out there for him, what he ended up signing for, which I'm trying to remember what it was off the top of my head, like 7/118. Look that up, by the way, real quick. Carlos Beltran's Met contract. And so the Mets obviously have that offer out there for Carlos. Carlos preferred to be a Yankee. He goes to the Yankees, Scott Boras does, and say, hey, can you get to this number? And I don't even think it was the Met number. I think it was a little bit lower. If you can get to this, he'll sign with the New York Yankees. So the reason I bring that up is, what if the Mets wanted to make the offer even bigger? And I kind of go back to that with Steve Cohen. If the Mets go out and say, here's 15 years, $800 million. And now Boras says, all right, Juan prefers to be a Yankee, goes to Hal and says, hey, just get this to 780 and we'll call it a deal. If you're only $1 million a year less, so you can get this thing to 785, we will sign the deal. What if Steve Cohen would say, wait, hold on a second. I'll go well above 800. I'll go to 820. So I don't know how that works in negotiations. You want to be classy. If you're Scott Boras, you represent a lot of players. You don't want to piss everybody off. You don't want to be dirty in these negotiations. So you want to handle things the right way. But I've always thought about that with Carlos Beltran back in the day.
It was seven for 119, by the way.
Okay, I was close. I think I said 7 for 118. Well, whatever. Yeah. Same thing. 7 for 119. Imagine that.
Soto times eight times, basically.
I wasn't even thinking, it's funny. You're right. I was thinking more like Willie Adames and Brandon Nimmo, those contracts and how it beat the Beltran contract, and think about how good Beltran was at the time. But if you do that, are you giving the big money team, the team that's going to stop at no cost, a chance to make it even bigger? Now, Boras is good enough at his job. You would think Scott would know how to do that with Steve Cohen and how to say, all right, Steve, can you get it to this number? But the problem is, you keep doing this. If the Yankees keep moving up, where does it end? And I think that's the real mystery of this whole thing. Clearly, Steve Cohen, and I give him credit for this before he wins or loses, he's trying. There's no doubt about that. No one is going to deny that they aren't trying to get Juan Soto if their offer is getting close to $800 million. Even if it's not, if it's 770, 760, they are trying. But how do you go and where should you go to make sure you get this deal done?
Well, I think there shouldn't be a limit. At this point in time, you're already committing $800 million, right? If this is the real number. So we're saying that they figured out a way with opt-outs and maybe with deferrals and bonuses. So at that point in time, 850 is like chump change. Like we've talked about that. Like when Judge signed with the Yankees, Hal had to go up $40 million. He didn't have to go up $80 million, but what's $40 million at that point in time? F it. We're this close. Do it. I think there's no limit at this point in time for Steve Cohen is worth $20 billion. I know it's not our money, but it's not like he's handing it out today. He's handing it out over time. It's all they're going to make it back. Just think about what Juan Soto looked like in. By the way, we do have our second guest of the evening popping up in a second, but we do, like, you saw what Soto looked like in the bleachers in Yankee Stadium. Just imagine him in right field in Citi Field. It's going to be phenomenal. Now, here's a guy. You may know him from the Midday Show. Also SNY, Licata.
Hi.
Are you feeling confident, Sal, right now?
I'm nervous. I'm anxious and I'm nervous.
You have been confident since the beginning. So what would make you nervous now that we're getting to the finish line, or do you think the Mets are being used?
Yeah, both. The analogy that I used the other day is like, when you really have to go to the bathroom badly, and the closer, like you hold it, and then the closer you get, it's like, oh my God, like I need to go now. That's how I am with Soto. I've been confident for over a year. As a matter of fact, Ev, I was thinking about this. You and I had this conversation off the air, back by our offices, and it was either right before the Yankees traded for him or something, and you were the one who really planted it in my mind, saying that it doesn't matter if the Yankees trade for him. Let them trade for him now, and the Mets will sign him.
Yeah,
and that was really the first time, because I wanted the Mets to trade for him because of this. Because the exact reason now, the only thing that's going to potentially screw us here is that he was a Yankee, so he's going to stay a Yankee for less. But I remember you saying it, and ever since then, and giving it much more thought, and talking to different people, and doing the math, like, yeah, I believe he's going to be a Met because I believe they're going to have the highest offer, and every indication is that he wants to take the highest offer. So that would lead to thinking he's going to be a Met.
Yeah, I didn't want to trade for him because I didn't think this advantage would matter. Now, it may matter. Like, you're right. Like, if he ends up staying with the Yankees and he takes $20 or $30 million less, which really isn't that much over the course of 15 years, we can look back at that and say, yeah, the Yankees trading for him was the end-all, be-all. But I stand by what I thought a year ago, because even though the Mets had a great year, and sure, if they had Juan Soto, who knows, maybe they win the World Series. At that moment, were they really ready to train for Juan Soto? Think about the amount of prospects they were going to have to give up. And it could have been a one-year rental. Like, there was no guarantee they were going to be able to keep him even by trading him. And what if the team didn't turn it around? What if they lost 85 games and it was just a bad season? What if they didn't fix Severino and Sean Manaea? So I didn't like the risk of giving up as much as it was going to take to get him for a team that was not, in my opinion, that close.
Or what if Mark Vientos was in there? We wouldn't have batted an eye then, but now he's a key cog in the top of that order. Like, my math for the Mets being a much better lineup is Lindor, Soto, or whatever order you want to go in, but Lindor, Soto, Vientos, that threesome atop the order. Vientos has proven to be an offensive star, at least for 1 year. So, yeah, I hate that the Mets put themselves in that position a year ago, but that's years before even Cohen got here. Like, there's really not much you could do. They're trying to dig out. They couldn't have made that trade for Juan Soto. And I do think that if they do end up losing him, if he gets retained by the Yankees, it's going to be because of that, because of his familiarity with in the Bronx for that year.
But you know what else? Like, let's say Vientos isn't even in that trade, because they were looking for pitching, and I'm not even sure they had the right matchup to make that trade. But they make the deal for Soto, and the Mets are just average. They're not bad. It's not an embarrassment, but they're average. Then would they have had any kind of home field advantage on getting him? Like, maybe it actually would have gone the other way, where it would have been negative that they traded for him, because he'd be like, why the hell do I want to play here?
Yeah,
I can't wait to get out. So
I know, but he that's a risk that the Yankees were willing to take. I mean, there was no guarantee the Yankees were getting to the World Series.
They were better, though. You knew they were better.
Yeah, I know, but they didn't play a good brand of baseball. And by the way, it turns out they weren't that much better. And I'm not like referencing it because it means a lot, but head to head, the Mets kicked their ass. The Mets did play well against the Dodgers, or at least a little bit better than the Yankees. I know what you're saying. The Yankees are better. We know that. They were expected to go to the World Series. Mets came out of nowhere. But, I mean, you didn't expect that it would be that close, and you certainly didn't think that the head-to-head competition would be like that either. You never know.
All right, so with this offer, like, if the Mets are the highest bidder, but he selects going back to the Yankees, will there be any part of you that's mad at Cohen for not bidding even higher? Because I kind of felt that way about Yamamoto, that if you wanted to get him, I mean, you're the Mets. You have to – there's almost a tax you have to pay.
Right, but don't you think that with Yamamoto, the way that it played out, they did have the highest offer, which, by the way, remember, everybody looks at it now and just says, oh, yeah, well, 325, 300. The initial talk with Yamamoto was like 180.
I know.
Like, it was under 2. It
exploded like this.
Correct. So then it went to 2. And then, like, if you're Cohen and the guys who were doing the deals, even Cashman and the Yankees were like, 300 is, we're really pushing it at 300. Take it or leave it. So I didn't blame Cohen for that. I know BT got on him. You want to see you question Cohen because he didn't go over the top. This is different because I think Soto would really, I think he'd be open to playing for the Mets. Yamamoto never really wanted that. So if it's 800 that's going to get it done, it's 800. Like, I really don't care. There is no player that's coming here in the near future that's going to be this. This is not a normal
completely
thing.
Agree. I mean, all you got to do is look at the next few years in free agency. Like, Vlad Guerrero Jr. is very good. He's close-ish to it, but there's no one else. It's not even close. Most of these guys don't get to free agency. They sign long-term contracts right away.
If we know that,
Jr. is not going to free agency.
If we know that, Cohen knows that.
Right.
And if Cohen knows that, and he doesn't give a crap about the money because he's, a billionaire 10 times over, whatever it is, that's how you get to 800. It may not be the fair market value, but if somebody's willing to go 750, and you really want them, you got to overpay. It is what it is.
So with Yamamoto, I thought the same way. And what my critique was, not that they weren't the highest bidder. They were, you're right, but they weren't high enough. It allowed the Dodgers to at least match it. And then they got him. I thought they should have offered $400 million. Now that sounds crazy. I totally get that. But if you want the player, you have to go crazy. So it was last night I tweeted, offer him $800 million, thinking that was crazy. Now that's where we're at. So now I'm thinking, offer $900 million, because you need to blow the Yankees away to ensure that home field advantage they have isn't a factor. And like you said, if he's got all this money, which he does, then go all the way to make sure you acquire the player, even if it means making an offer that feels crazy.
All right, here's the question though. So, and by the way, are we going based off of what Bill Madden said, or is there more legitimacy to it?
No. That's the as of right now, the only reporting that the Mets have gotten $800 million is Bill Madden. I'm just saying last night, that was what my opinion was as a fan. Offer him $800 million and make it happen.
So reading the tweet, not that I trust it or not, whatever. Bill's a reputable reporter. Used to be obviously more tuned in, whatever. But use common sense. Like, you could be at the portion of the program where the Mets are at 750, the Yankees are at 730. The Yankees say, all right, we'll come up, or maybe they're hesitant, and Cohen just like, F it. You want 8? Here's 8. Like, let's just get this done and move on. So that to me is why I would believe that there's some legitimacy to it. But yeah, I mean, what's the difference between 750 and 800? It's really, to your point,
nothing.
And it's not going to hurt the Mets the way that it is the Yankees, because of where the Yankees are at. So the Mets could keep playing this game all night long. The question becomes, is he legitimately going to leave for a certain amount, or is it just to use the Mets, which is something that you always have to be fearful
of? We do have another positive special guest about to join you guys right now.
Oh, God.
Positive Tommy's in there.
I thought you were going to say a positive update. I mean, I know what Tommy's going to say. Way, we got Juan Soto. It's over.
Mets are getting Soto! Martino just said it. Mets are getting Soto.
What?
No.
Don't F with me.
Andy Martino, Mets are getting Soto.
Yes! We got him, John Heyman. We got him! We got him! As soon as Tommy came on! Yes! It's going! Yes!
I told you!
Oh, my God.
And it's not 800, according to John Heyman, Scott Boras. That's right. 15 years, 765. It's over. He is a Met.
Holy crap.
Damn Mets.
I give Tommy all the credit. You pop on and it happens.
I thought Sal was stepping on my line. I thought Hop set me up. I thought he stepped on my line. I didn't hear him.
It's over. Yes, according to, you said Martino had it, John Heyman. I don't give a crap. I give it to whoever wants the credit gets the credit. I don't give a shit. 15 years, 765. We have taken Juan Soto away. And now, Sal, it bothered me sometimes when you called him a king, but now he is our king.
This is why. This is the God's honest truth. It was never because I am a Met fan, ever. It was because you could see this coming and feel it coming. I was mocked. I was made fun of. Awful announcing, talking, and whatever it may be. This lunatic thinks he's going to the Mets after he got traded to the Yankees. Kiss my ass! King Cohen has delivered! Yeah!
Wow. Oh, my God. And I'll never forget now, Sal screaming out of nowhere, Martino said it. And I'm thinking to myself, you better be right, or I will hate that piece of shit forever. He better be right.
Go back and look at the timeline because he tweeted twice because there was a typo. He said,
what did he call him? Did he call him Arson Soto? Like what?
League. He said league Ors left off the S, Soto to Mets. Then retweeted, quote tweet, source that is, Mets are getting Soto. Heyman then followed. So Martino on my timeline had it first.
And now, if you want to make it official, Jeff Passan, who is the guy, Juan Soto's 15 years, $765 million deal with the Mets includes no deferrals, according to sources. It has escalators that can get it to $800 million.
Wow.
So I guess there was some creativity involved here that basically makes it an $800 million deal without it being an $800 million deal. Here's the big question, though, Sal. Tommy, how you? By the way, Tommy, I give you all the credit.
I can't say it enough. All I gotta
say anything. He just comes on.
No, I two generational talents, of course, positive Tommy. Juan Soto, a new era of Mets baseball started tonight at what, 10-12 when Sal made that announcement? The dawning of a new era, the seismic shift where the Mets, and Sal, you're going to love this one, are now big brother in town. You had a good run, Yankee fans.
This
but
is
tonight,
the beginning.
The Mets are big brother.
They got to win, and they got to have sustained success.
No.
This one's going to hurt the Yankees. It's finally time we punch them for once. Cohen needed to do it. He needed to get this guy. The Mets would have been hurt more. This will hurt for the Yankees. The Mets had to have him, and they got him.
Yeah, it will definitely hurt for the Yankees. I think so. There are these questions that will now come out. Number one, for the Yankees, we don't give a crap, but I'll put it out there. How far did Hal go? Did Hal get to 750, 740? Did the Yankees get a chance to match it? Like, where did the Yankees go in this regard? And that's for, I guess, us. Obviously, we'll talk about it on the fan. But for us, for the Met fans, it was Steve Cohen made sure that he was not going to lose this player. For every reason you and I said, this guy's too good. He's too young. And at this point, the money, who gives a crap? Just get it done. Get this guy here. And I think he understood the importance of the moment, the season tickets, the jersey sales. I mean, my oldest son has basically said, get me the Juan Soto as soon as he signs so I can rub it into Yankee fans at school. I understand. We all understand. Trust me. So there's going to be a lot of kids, a lot of adults like that too.
All right.
I think I may have to. I know you will for certain as well.
All right, now get Alonso back.
Yes. Yes. It only took us about 5 minutes to get there, and I'm glad you're the one to say it too.
No. You got to enjoy this. It still hasn't sunk in. Obviously, like with all of us, we do it for a living, so it's a little different, but the fans have been paying attention to this for a long time. It's been going on, the battle back and forth all year. Even tonight, we're sweating it out. Go ahead.
We have an opt-out update. All right. Now you tell me if you're okay with this. Joel Sherman. He has an opt-out after 5 seasons.
Fine with me.
Fine with me. I agree with you.
And by the way, he opts out. See you, Juan. Go somewhere else. I don't care. You're guaranteed to get his best 5 seasons. That's all you care about.
Yeah, and you start to think to yourself, like 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Is he really opting out after his age 30 season? I actually kind of find that weird. I thought he would probably get an earlier opt-out because if he gets to free agency at 29, who knows? I mean, maybe the market looks that different 2-3 years from now, and he's so good that he'd be able to get even more. So I agree with you. I was curious if there would be an opt-out, what the opt-out would look like. A 5-season opt-out, I don't care. And look, maybe we are sitting here in 5 years saying, you know what? Thank you for your time. Move on. We'll see. We'll see what the team does. We'll see what he does. But no issue with an opt-out after 5 seasons for Juan Soto.
The investment is for now. Like, even if it were 3 years, it would bother me a little bit, but I'm not worried about it. They guarantee now to have Juan Soto for the next 5 years. If he wants to leave and go somewhere else, so be it. You hope to have a championship or 2. Now, obviously, there's a long way to go to get to that, but that's the thinking. I'm not worried about Soto for 15 years. Well, was that the amount again? I forgot. 15 for 765?
Yeah.
15 for 765 with escalators. All right, here we go. Juan Soto, the Yankee bid for Juan Soto. You ready for this?
Yeah.
They went 16 for 760.
So wasn't even that much of a difference.
Let's go.
He wanted to be a Met.
Well,
he wanted Cohen.
They offered him an extra year, but less money per. So what's the calculation on the amount of money per year, 760 divided by 16? You have a calculator, Pete?
It's 51 the other way.
So the Mets are giving him 51 a year, 47.65.
47.8.
All right, so the Yankees offered him about $3 million a year less, but they offered him an extra season. But the overall package of the deal was higher on the Met end and the escalators to get it to $800 million.
By the way, we should note, Evan, just for clarity, the Yankees also did offer him the pinstripes, the ability to have Aaron Judge protect him in the lineup, the fact that they went to the World Series a year ago, the 27 championships, all that. They offered him that as well. So I guess Juan just wanted a little more money.
Or, and this is the thing that we never knew, and we've had endless discussions about it. You guys have, we all have. What did this guy really want? Did he want to be the guy? He comes here, and look, we all love Lindor. What Lindor did last year, amazing. Juan Soto's the guy. There could be a statue for this man outside of Citi Field in 20, 25 years. We all know how we treat Piazza and David Wright. Meanwhile, those guys have won nothing. So maybe it's that. I mean, it could be maybe he liked OMG. I mean, maybe he just wanted to rock out to Jose Iglesias. You never know what an individual wants or what an individual doesn't want. Maybe it was the money. Maybe it was simply, I like this contract better. I don't know. And quite frankly, I do not give a crap. When Beltran came here, I did not care that he pimped himself back to the Yankees because who cares? The Mets got Beltran. That's all that mattered. Same thing here with Juan Soto.
I'm going to step out for a second, but we do have to bring back somebody that might feel a little salty right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris
McMonagle. He was a Yankee.
Yeah.
Soto is a Met, C-Mac.
Yeah. No, it's brutal. I'm just seeing I literally just saw you guys talking about what the Yankees offered. So give that to me right now again.
The Yankees offered 16 years, 760. That's about $47.5 million a year. The Met final offer, we're not sure about the escalators, but was 15 years, 765, which is a little over $50 million a year. So the Yankees offered less money per year, less overall package, one extra year on the deal, and obviously he accepts the Met offer.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good enough. Listen, I get it. It's close enough where I thought he would be a Yankee, but he wanted every last penny. Everything said about it from the beginning was it was going to be every dollar, and it was. And it's not good enough from the Yankees. It's not good enough. That's a deal he has to match.
Are you mad? Are you mad at Hal? You want to call him a Wilponi cheapo?
No,
what do you want to do, Chris? Take back? What do you want to do?
I don't know about a Wilponi cheapo, but I'll tell you, it's not good enough. It pisses me off. He should have been a Yankee. You gotta go out and give him this contract. It sucks. It sucks.
I must have missed when you congratulated us. I didn't hear that.
Congrats.
You want to congratulate Sal and I or no?
Well, you came in yelling at me. Congratulations, you weirdo.
Sorry, I did yell at you. That's my fault. Only because he was saying that, for a year you were saying Juan Soto is a Yankee.
Yes.
So
now, but the reason I say that, to be honest, you could lay it on me. I'm not going to run from it. But I did it almost as I got pissed off constantly talking about his future while he was a Yankee.
I know.
So the Juan Soto is a Yankee tweet was specifically about just shut up about next year. We'll get to that when we get to it. He's a Yankee right now.
Is there, by the way, out of curiosity, Big Mac, I'm sorry, was there anyone specifically that you thought talked too much about Juan Soto eventually becoming a Met? I don't know if there's anybody you have in mind that maybe you want to address. I mean, you should if that's how you feel.
No, he definitely was part of it. But no, just the overall talk, it just bothered me. Especially, I think I started doing it when the Yankees, they got off to the great start and everything, and we're still and he was having a great start to the year while Judge was struggling. It was just like, what's he going to do next year? What's he going to do next year? It was pissing me off. But it was warranted because he freaking left. And like you guys were just saying, it's really not. I know it's the lesser year. It's a couple $1 million more. He didn't care about being a Yankee at all.
Correct. That's the other point that should be.
He didn't care about being a Yankee. Yeah.
Here, honestly, C-Mac, I knew what you were saying because you wanted to enjoy it in the moment. Like, who cares who goes after this? He is a Yankee right now. But that was part of the fun in teasing back. He is a Yankee now for now. And I actually still can't even believe it. I thought this was going to happen, but the fact that we're talking about this and for that contract, Like, even I didn't think. I thought he was coming to the Mets for the most money. I didn't think it was going to be that close.
Yeah, it's crazy because I thought months and months ago, we did this on the air like back in May, like just predict the Juan Soto contract. And I thought I went nuts by going 15,750. And it actually went higher than that, which is kind of insane. And with these escalators, which I'm sure will come out, like, how does it get to 800? It could get to $800 million. And maybe those are easy escalators. Like, that's the other thing about how much more the Mets offered than the Yankees. I'm very curious what can get this to $800 million. Like, what is it? Easy stuff? Like, hey, go be a silver slugger or go finish in the top 10 in MVP voting. It could be something very, very easy to get him there. But either way, look, Hal came a long ways. He just didn't go far enough. And Juan Soto wanted the richest contract. And maybe he didn't want to be a Yankee, or maybe he wasn't moved by all that stuff the Yankees can offer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, Hal did go – he went further than I thought he would. I thought 715 would get it done, to be totally honest with you. So I'm surprised they went this far and still didn't get him. I thought that wanting to be a Yankee would carry a little bit. Now, again, it's what's the difference in the money per year?
That's about $3 million. Yeah,
$3 million a year.
That's unbelievable.
I'm shocked. I got to be honest with you. I'm very surprised.
See, and that part of it is going to prevent the argument from Yankee fans. Well, the contract was ridiculous. We didn't want to go there. Like, if it were $800 million and they tapped out at $750, it's a difference. And I know, C-Mac, you were not in the minority, but
I would have never said that.
No, I know you would.
I would have never said it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know if you were in the minority, but on the station, certainly you were one who was like, guys, come on, they have to get him back.
Yes,
but the fact that it's a $3 million, basically he took the same deal, a little bit better from the Mets.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows you that Soto was always about what's best for him, and maybe even just preferred change of ownership or a different. Who the hell knows?
It may have been that. Because one of the early reports, and it's funny, man, because early on in the reporting are like, every meeting's great. Give me a break. It's all about the money.
Yeah.
But we heard he really wanted a relationship with ownership.
Right.
And Hal didn't really have one with him last year. And I guess explained in the meeting, I wanted to give you your space and it'll be great now. And maybe Steve Cohen, who's got a reputation for having players over for dinner, right? That's a thing. Right. Maybe it really helped. Now, obviously, 765 will get it done, but maybe he looked at the organization and said, I want to be there. Yeah. And I'm with Sal. Sal said something about 5 minutes ago. I still can't really fathom it. Like, I'm still trying to really, like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Juan Soto's a freaking Met.
Like when you get your lunch bag and your peanut butter and jelly sandwich and your scorebook and go to opening day, you're going to see Juan Soto. You're going to pencil him into your lineup card. And you fill it out.
First of all, I use pen. All right, that's number one. And number two, let's see what time this Yankee Pirate game starts to find out if I can go to opening day. Because I'm not one to just take off and go to opening day, Sal. I don't know where you would get that idea from. Maybe the timing will work out. We'll see. Well, Big Mac, you're going to have a fun overnight show tonight. I may tune in for a little bit. I can't wait to hear you, pal.
What time you on, C-Mac?
2. Congrats, fellas. This sucks.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
It was fun writing him in the scorebook, Evan. You'll enjoy it. He was. He didn't want to be a Yankee. I'm flat out.
You got to enjoy him for a year.
Yeah. Now, let's see if you guys have the same success. See if you get back to it. See if you get to a World Series.
We better say it right now. Maybe not in year one, but over the 15 years, better freaking see a World Series.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, listen, nothing says World Series like Juan Soto hitting third, Clay Holmes on the mound to start the game. I can't wait. Very excited for you guys there. Clay Holmes and Montas for games 4 and 5 in L.A. Sounds great. Yes.
It's a good point. Forgot about that.
Thank you, Big Mac. We appreciate it. Go do your thing. Chris McMonagle, ladies and gentlemen. And Sal, I appreciate you coming on as well. I'm glad we were able to share that moment together as Met fans to all experience the joy and the shock of Juan Soto being a New York Met.
I still cannot believe it. I'm going to be going on SNY in about a half hour, and I cannot wait. Yes. Oh, BT, your ass is in big trouble tomorrow at 10 a.m. Yeah. All right, Ev. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Sal. Sal Licata, ladies and gentlemen. This has been quite a day. This turned and started as a Juan Soto wait party, and it's turned into Juan Soto is a New York Met. And as I sit here with all of you and we all share this together, I am having that, holy crap. Like, is this real? Did we really pull this off? And it is very important for me to say this to Steve Cohen. Over the years since you bought the team, I've had questions. I've appreciated you, and I've always said thank you for not being Jeff Wilpon, and thank you for being a big market owner. But were you going to be that special owner? Were you going to be that unique owner, that owner that we all dreamt of when you bought this team? And there have been signs of it, but it hadn't fully happened yet. You know, trading for Lindor and extending Lindor, great, big market stuff, great sign, but not the dream. You know, that dream. Signing Max Scherzer, very cool. I mean, didn't work out, but I liked it at the time, and I appreciate that at the time. Losing Jacob deGrom, that's another story. I may never forgive you for that, but I understand it. Pivoting to Justin Verlander. The other thing you did that was a sign of maybe he's special was paying off the DeGrom and the Verlander, the Verlander and the Scherzer contracts to get prospects. Like, very impressive. Something we had never seen before. That felt special, big, but not the dream. And then last year in free agency, I thought maybe you would make such a crazy offer for Shohei Ohtani that even if he didn't want to be in New York, you'd make him think about it. And you never did. And I wondered, like, why not try to make an offer? All right, you didn't even want to have a meeting. It happens. Then you've got Yamamoto. We talked about this earlier. You made a big bid, but you needed to make a Godfather bid. You needed to go above and beyond. So as we came into the Soto negotiations, I looked at this and said, are you going to be that guy? Are you going to be the guy that not only signs the generational free agent, not only signs the guy who's 26 years old in his prime, but steals him away from the New York freaking Yankees? Can you do that? Can you pull that off? And my God, you pulled it off. So Steve Cohen, thank you very much. Steve Cohen, you somehow did it. Steve Cohen, you somehow delivered us maybe the greatest freaking free agent one could have at 26 years old, but you stole him from the Yankees. Now, I've always said this, and I believe this in the moment. That's just an added bonus. Stealing him from the New York Yankees, that was it was a bonus. I like it, but get the player. I wanted the player. That player could have still been in San Diego. Go get the player. That guy could have still been in Washington, hurt a divisional rival. Go get the player. He was a Yankee? Sorry, bro. It's just business. Go get the player. But the creme de creme of this is not only did you get the player, not only did you bring in the 26-year-old stud, the guy who changes the look of this lineup, you took him from the defending American League champion New York Yankees. You took him from a fan base that has tortured us my entire life. I get why my son said, get me a Soto jersey. You don't even have to do anything. Let me wear that jersey to school. Because Yankee fans, we live with them. We live side by side with them. Sometimes they're in our own freaking household. And they're tough. They're tough to live with. Well, and I know they've got to win. I get that. We'll have plenty of Ricos breaking down how they make that happen. But for the time being, you don't have to use your words with Yankee fans. You just have to smile. Like I'm doing right now. Just a little smirk. Just a little what's up? How you doing? That's it. In fact, I need to look at a Yankee fan right now. I need to find a Yankee fan right now and just smile at them. I may go out on the streets right now, Pete, and just find my neighbor's a Yankee fan. I'm going to knock on his door at 11 o'clock at night, open it, and just look at him and smile and be like, what's up?
Can I show you a picture?
Yes.
And I don't know if this is from 11 minutes. He tweeted it out. Donovan Mitchell tweeted this out 11 minutes ago. I don't know if this was just happened, but this is your new right fielder.
Oh, my God. Donovan Mitchell FaceTiming with Juan Soto. And I'm sorry. I don't mean to make this a Nick thing. Josh Hart told Yankee fans he won't leave. And Donovan Mitchell said, okay. So maybe this is a preview of the playoffs with Donovan Mitchell. I'm just kidding. Woo! By the way, I was about to tell you that before we sign off, because we can't do like we're not going to do, I'm going to warn you right now for the Rico listeners, we can't pivot to what's next. We need a night to sleep, okay? And then we'll pivot to Alonso and the rotation. I promise you. It can't happen tonight. It's not rational. But before we sign off for the night, I was going to ask you, the one Yankee fan I do want to look at, like I want him on this Rico, is Sean Morash. But if I'm not mistaken, he is currently doing his podcast, One Giant Step. So I don't know if there's a way to patch in to his podcast or tell him to take a break from his podcast for 30 seconds just so I can look at his face.
Give me a second. I'm going to call him right now.
Thank you very much.
I'll be right.
And I respect that he's doing one. In fact, when we sign off, I advise anyone that wants to hear about the Giants and the number 1 overall pick, you should watch or listen to One Giant Step, where he's telling you how great it is that the Giants lost and how amazing it was that they didn't tie the game and send it to overtime and how they're going to get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward or whatever. But Sean Morash, more so than anybody, because every other Yankee fan that I know was open-minded to he may leave. BT, open-minded to he may leave. Keith McPherson, open-minded to he may leave. Sean Morash, who I share 4.5 hours with every day. I mean, we don't share it, but he's there. Me and Tiki give him some time every once in a while. But he was adamant. He was adamant. No way. Not possible. It's over. Soto is staying with the New York Yankees. There's no way he'll leave. So seeing his face would give me such joy.
Well, I just got off the phone with him, and he doesn't sound happy, but he's going to come on. So just give him like a minute or so.
All right. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are consuming this, and this is a very strange podcast for those that are listening to this a day after the fact, I guess it's kind of cool because you know how it's going to end. Like you listen to it waiting for the drama. But for those live, especially those watching on YouTube, the best part of Sean Morash isn't going to even be his words. It's probably just going to be that face, that look on his face, on his kisser, as they say.
Oh,
and like just how it looks, how it feels, and how he responds. And I apologize. Like, I don't want to be a jerk, but I don't know. Sometimes things bring out the worst in me. And signing Juan Soto has given me a lot of joy, but it also gives me this feeling of I also want to, drink tears a little bit, just a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Morash. Sean, I appreciate you coming on after your podcast. Boy, that face is something.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Can you tell me what's going through your mind right now?
My honest reaction is I want to cry. Like, if we're being dead honest, you're catching me in a very private moment at home by myself where I just threw a remote at the TV and turned off MLB Network on my left TV, and I just have Sunday Night Football watching a Chief bet implode on me, and I just want to cry because I honestly didn't think this was happening. At no point did I think this was happening, and I am so disinterested in whatever my team does for a plan B that a part of my fandom feels like it just died.
Wow.
I've never, you gotta realize, we never felt this feeling. Losing a guy that you want to keep, that you're in, I've never felt this feeling. I don't know what this feels like. I don't like how this feels. And I just feel like I had an entire teased, fun year that means nothing, and I will never get back. And I hate this team. I don't want to watch baseball. That's my feeling. So there, you got it. You got it out of me. That's my honest initial reaction.
I'm not laughing. I'm just smiling. I just want you to know that. And I'm not smiling at anything you said. Like what you said, I maybe I feel bad for you. I'm smiling.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You shouldn't. You should feel, if I was a Met fan, I would probably run in the street, pull down my pants, and get arrested for indecent exposure. This is unbelievable. I can't imagine the feeling you'd be having because you've also really never felt this on the other side of it.
No, because like our big free agent signings, and we've had, like, don't get me wrong, Beltran, Pedro, like there've been big moments, but
this is different.
Taking this player from you, it feels very, very special that we took him from you. Like, you had him for a year, and now we have him for 15 years.
I told you this, bro. I told you this. How long ago? How many times did we argue this? If you weren't going to sign him, I would have rather not done this for the year because I got one giant tease, and now I would have lived with this. If the Mets signed Soto tonight and he was a Padre last year or wherever, all right, great. Hey, look, Boris outbid them, and that's the end of it. It makes it worse that he was a Yankee for a year because you made us fall in love. And now you guys get to experience the love and know that you stole our hot chick. Like, this is ridiculous. I would have rather not sat. I don't care that we made the World Series and lost. I would have rather won 89 games, been ousted in the wild card, and not lost Juan Soto to the Mets. It is by far the worst feeling I have felt for an off-season move in my lifetime. This makes Saquon Barkley to the Eagles feel like this.
So for the audio audience, he's holding like two fingers very tight
I'm
together.
sorry. I forgot. Yeah, it's audio. It's podcast.
Well, I mean, it's video
Whatever.
and audio. It's however you want to consume it.
It's a real jamboree.
You said to me, and I'm curious how you feel. This is not a trolling question. This is like a legitimate question.
Fine.
You said to me, you will be mad at Hal Steinbrenner no matter what. Now, what we know, and I'm not sure if you know all the information.
I got it. 760, 16 years.
Yes.
All right. So it basically $4 million more. Here's the bottom line. What we don't know about the Yankee offer, obviously, is were they trying to have a lot of deferrals? The Mets didn't have deferrals. What was their out situation? What was the signing bonus situation? Like, any way you slice it, all of that stuff you might find out, and that's where the Mets really helped this thing out. He wasn't the highest bidder. Point blank, period. So whatever number they got to that they were comfortable with, the number the Mets got comfortable with, there's literally no excuse why the Yankees couldn't have got to that number. We never saw, it wasn't like we got dropped tonight with whatever that Bill Madden account. We never got to 850. The number was still in the sevens.
So apparently it can get, and this is what's going to be really interesting. The Met contract is 765 with escalators that can get to 800. So they could be easy escalators. They could be like, and we're going to find out. So it may be $800 million.
Okay, but the point is, when you get that close, it's almost like I would have rather found out the Yankees are that cheap. They're only going to 550. They were never really in it. When you get that close, when you're swimming in those waters and you're comfortable swimming in them, you can't. And I'm sorry, this is the Mets. We can pretend it's not a thing. It is the Yankees and the Mets. And if you're an owner in this town, you can't let that happen with you. You can't let them do that. I would say even if the Red Sox and Blue Jays did it, they're in your division. You're like, oh, well, you can't have the optics of this going on in your town. It's horrible. It is horrible. Now, I don't think it's this little. And look at this jackass. My wife's cousin's husband just texted me Soto to the Mets an hour ago. Called loser. Like why? This is horrible. It just sucks. Now, you guys, I think this is a real flipping. I don't think it's a big brother, little brother thing. We'll grow our Yankee muscles back. We'll get there in April. When the Mets struggle, we'll laugh. But this sucks right now. This sucks.
I want to show you something, Sean.
What?
That's Juan Soto in a pool. He looks very excited.
Celebrating his contract.
Cool. I hope he likes Chop Shop, so you can go celebrate with them now.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
Juan Soto is a New York Met.
Well, tomorrow is the holiday book. You know what? I think I'm getting a little sick. I gotta go.
Thank you, Sean. We appreciate it. Sean Morris, ladies and gentlemen, as we do drink some tears of Yankee fans, while we also celebrate our joy that Juan Soto is indeed a New York Met.
Did you also recognize how he labeled his name?
How did he label his name? No, I have no idea.
Pete Alonso is a Yankee.
Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
I'm not ready to engage in this yet. I want Pete Alonso back. I'll just leave it at that. All right. I think I've always made that very, very clear that getting Soto would be awesome. And yes, losing Pete after you get Soto, it would be more understandable. Like, it would still hurt. He's a homegrown guy. We all like him. He can still help this team. I still think he's the best option at first base. But it would be easier after a signing like this. But I want him back. And him going to the Yankees would be very awkward. I don't think that's a worry, by the way. Like, if the Mets lose Pete Alonso, I don't think it will be to the New York Yankees. But right now, This is a I can't believe Juan Soto is a Met moment. I have a chapter in my book, My Mets Bible. I have it right here. There was a chapter that was called I can't believe Mike Piazza is a Met, actually. Hold on, let me find out how I labeled it. Because it was actually a very similar feeling and a much more stunning feeling when Mike Piazza was a Met. Here it is, page 46 of My Mets Bible. I can't believe Mike Piazza is a Met. And the reason it's labeled that way is I was at number 6 school on Long Island playing basketball. I wasn't very good at it because I'm no athlete. And we had the boombox playing with Mike and the Mad Dog to show you how outdated this is. Boombox, Mike and the Mad Dog playing basketball when they announced that the Mets had acquired Mike Piazza. I sprinted home about 3 blocks, nothing crazy, just so I could call my dad, who was at work, to say, we got Mike Piazza. And the joke until Mike retired was, I can't believe Mike Piazza was a Met, because every day I'd wake up and say, I can't believe Mike Piazza is a freaking Met. Now, the Soto thing was a year in the making. You know, we have been openly talking and speculating about this for a very long time. Piazza was not like that. The Piazza trade to the Marlins came out of nowhere, and even his trade to the Mets came out of nowhere because I wasn't even that familiar with the petitioning that Mike and Chris did, despite us listening on our boombox. I'm at school half the day. So Piazza to the Mets felt like a stunning moment at that time. It was not something I expected. Soto was. But I think for a long time, there is going to be that similar, I can't believe Juan Soto is a Met feel that we all have, because it is kind of surreal to think about.
This is, I'm never going to forget where I was on this moment. This moment, this day, my kid coming down, screaming in the background that he wasn't happy with I have a lot of angry Yankee fans in the household already. So.
Is he converting, though? Is this a possible conversion spot?
Right now, there's no conversion. It's just tears. But we will get there. We will certainly get there. I'll get him. You know what? Christmas is coming up. I know what to get him. I'll get him. I'll get him a Juan Soto jersey.
Oh, yeah. I think I'll be doing a lot of that right now. I think I'm going to do a lot of Juan Soto. And I'm not big on buying jerseys before guys do things for my team. But nevertheless, I think in a case like this, he is such a great player. He is so young. We took him from the Yankees. I think when you combine all of that stuff together, how do you not? You know what I mean? Positive Tommy's back. My man, the guy barely said a word, but all he did was come on and bring us positivity. I can't hear you. Can we get his mic up?
On.
Oh, there it is. All right, go ahead. Now we can hear you.
Put my mic on. If you rewatch the clip, Evan set me up perfectly. I'm about to say I'm positive we're going to get Juan Soto. And Licata stepped on my line. Now, granted, it was breaking news the Mets are getting Juan Soto, so I'll let it slide. You're welcome. Positive Tommy's presence within a minute. First time on the Rico Brogna podcast, my debut, and the Mets signed Juan Soto. I mean, if you don't believe in the power of positivity, now you gotta. What a night, guys. I don't want to curse. I don't want Hurley to get upset. I know he's watching. But what a night to be a Mets fan.
Big brother, I know that's your big thing. Now, we need to win, but this is one of the big steps to becoming big brother. I will admit that.
This is that step where the Yankees had Juan Soto. He wanted the Mets. He wanted because Citi Field and the Mets, we are big brother now. We are the new era of baseball in this town, and the Yankees are the 90s, and they are the past. And I saw my buddy on there all like lurched over. Pete Alonso's a Yankee. He was looking like Darth Vader without the helmet on, Sean Marash, and it's gonna be a long day for Sean Marash tomorrow, and I can't wait. So I just wanted to pop back on and just say a quick hello, and I love you.
Well, thank you, Tommy. I appreciate it, and yes, I give you all the credit because that was unfortunately his microphone sucks, but I give him all the credit, and I think that for those that are consuming this as a podcast, you may not appreciate the moment, so I'll try to describe it to you. At about an hour and 40 minutes into this marathon that we're doing, Sal is on with me. Pete is on with me, and Tommy checks in. Okay, great. Let's see positive Tommy's opinion on the pursuit of Juan Soto because nothing had happened yet. And as he is popping on, I don't even think a word came through. I'm introducing him. Hey, positive Tommy, I know what he's going to say. Sal is the one that gave us the news from Andy Martino, and then eventually I saw it from John Heyman that we got Juan Soto. So the guy popped onto the podcast, never said a word. You may have visually seen him if you watch this on YouTube. And then magically Juan Soto is a Met. So it was, He's going to love it because that was a very truly positive Tommy moment for him.
For all the haters, I'm going to try to erase that from memory. We're going to try to redo that later on.
Well, either way, this has been a very historic night. We appreciate everyone that checked in on our Juan Soto wait party, which eventually turned into a We Got Juan Soto party. We will definitely get our heads together and start talking more rationally. This has been very emotional, but I promise you, Rico's every day of the winter meetings, obviously the reaction to the signing of Juan Soto, the big question, which is what's next? Obviously, this offseason is far from done. The Mets have more work to do, but for the time being, they've gotten the big fish, and that is Juan Soto is a New York Met. Let me repeat, Juan Soto is a New York Met. So I want to thank everyone who popped on today. Chris Big Mac McMonigal, who did like the first hour with us. Sal Licata, very much thanks, Sal. I mean, he basically told us the news. Positive Tommy, Sean Morash, and of course, great work by Pete Hoffman. More Ricos coming every day of the winter meetings, but thank you very much for being with us through this historic and festive occasion. Juan Soto is a New York Met. Now we dance. Yes. All right. Thank you for listening to this very long edition of Rico Brogna. We'll talk to you tomorrow or today at 2 o'clock on WFAN.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Rico Brogna podcast. It's amazing, isn't it? Make sure you download it now to keep it on you at all times.